Welcome in to the Rant with me, Pugs Moran, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery in Dallas's Design District. We do this every day, Monday through Friday. It's a little talk radio get-together where we talk about the world, we talk about ourselves, lifestyle, current events driven every day at noon since 2021. Oh, I got to fix my TV. Oh, it's been a long day. It's going to be a long day. Hold on. It's been a long day. It's going to be a long day. Hey, before we get started, this is my only joy. No, actually, that's not true. I do have something I'm looking forward to, but I got stuff after this. I had stuff before this. This is what I wait for every day, to sit here with you folks in the chat room. Let's say hi to the chat room. We got Adam, we got Ty, we got Barney, we got, well, that's me, I guess, host, it says. Frankie's in the chat. Hold on, let me make it, I gotta make it big again. Who was first in? Frankie B was first. Was Frankie B the first in today? Looks like it. Frankie B. He's in there first today. So a lot of, I want to apologize to you, the chat room. And I mean this. I thought about this last night. Yesterday, we had Schwartzy in here, my buddy, Dr. Robert Schwartz. God, he makes me laugh. He's so funny. He is such a misanthrope. I mean, he's this really skilled doctor who has the most incredible bedside. Like, he's just like a really nice doctor to talk to, and like he's really good at all that. And then when we go out and hang out, he's just like, a misanthrope. He's just not, of course, concerning what his profession and him being serious and all that stuff, but just like, he's always willing to argue. He's very funny. And so I enjoyed having him. And I want to have Schwartz regular. I want to have him, but he can't really break away from surgery for 3 hours in the middle of the day. So having him sit in the chair, or the little guest chair that we've been unveiling these last couple of weeks, is going to be hopefully not so infrequent, but we'll see. He's like, I loved it. I had a good time. I said, good, come back next Monday. He's like, I can't. And I'm like, come on. But what bothered me about that, because I do enjoy having people in here. We almost had a big one in here today. We almost had a really big one, but they're out of town. They were they're out of town, so they're going to come in soon, like probably next week. I'll tell you who that is later. But why am I apologizing to the chat room? Okay, because I'm ignoring you guys. I am totally ignoring you guys when we have guests in. And please trust me on this. That is not how I intend for this to work. Okay, I'm not. It's just I don't know what I'm doing yet. You know what I mean, guys? We've been doing this for 3 years. It's me alone, and now I've got to kind of shift the way I'm doing the show, and I got to kind of toss the ball. So that's got me all squirrely in the head. And then here's the real problem. I'm like working the cameras. There should be, maybe if we had, Jamie, maybe if Jamie did his job, Jamie, my producer, I stole him from Joe Rogan. Maybe somebody else at some point will start doing the camera. But for me doing the camera here, it's just hard. So I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to do the camera. And then I forget to go back to you guys. So please, heartfelt. I'm sorry, guys. Let me get the handle of this, and then we'll figure it out. I get another computer. That'll be great. If I get another computer, then I can really, and I'm working on that. We're getting there. That's not something, that's fixable. How do you like the lights today? Look at us. Glorious lights. Now, I have to apologize to Big Ed. He, of course, the Grant Poobah Radio Misfits there at Radio Misfits Tower in downtown Chicago. He sent me some really great lights like months ago. But I looked at them and I went, it looked like really elaborate. And I don't know anything about lights. I don't know how to do lights. So I just kind of put them away, and I'm like, okay, at some point I'm going to get into that. And now that I'm having guests, we need good lighting. So I did it, and it works, and it's not hard at all. It's like everything else in my life that I put off. I can't tell you, do you guys have this phenomena where there's something that you got to learn? And you're like, oh my God, I don't want to learn this. Like, I don't know, maybe it's a new application. On your phone or something. Or maybe now we see this with social networks, right? Where we're like, oh, there's a new social network. I'm not going to try a new site. We do that. We intimidate ourselves. See, this is like a mental thing. Again, we've got to recognize what's going on here. It's not that we don't want to be on Blue Sky or Blurp or whatever the hell it is. I'm sure it's fun. We love social media to our own detriment, but we love it. And it's not that we don't want to be on the new one. It's just that we build up in our head that it's going to be so complicated. And I'm not of this generation. And this is not something that I'm supposed to be. And we put it off and we don't enjoy it. And then what happens? We finally sit down and we go, okay, I'm going to learn this. And within a couple of minutes after, because the first couple of minutes are always awful, right? The first couple of minutes are like, this sucks. I don't understand anything I'm reading. And then you have the eureka moment. And you're like, oh, I get this. Holy shit, this is easy. Well, that's how the lights were. And finally, we have lighting. I was like, oh, I get it. I see how they're supposed to go. So we have lighting. So that's good. Adam says, man, wish I could crush y'all in trivia tonight. I've got 0 time today. Yo, fuck you, Adam. No, that's Adam. That's okay. Because look, here's the deal. Adam brings up trivia tonight. Check the bottom of the screen. We are doing a trivia night where it's right now it's Brandon, my boy, my promotional guru, Brandon and myself. Here's the idea. I mean, he's got his own thing going on, right? He's got to do his business, and I also have my little thing going on here, and we got to spread the word. We've been doing this for 3 years. We've got to do something more than just a fat middle-aged man screaming into a camera from, downtown Dallas every day. So I'm like, I've told the story about how my partner Kelly and I, the Kelly Moran Memorial Studios, I told the story about how Kelly and I connected here in Dallas back in 2001. We were carpet-bagging Yankees who were replacing Ron and Don, who... whatever. They were, look, Ron or Don, one of them was a fucking asshole. One of them was just an asshole to me. I tried to be like a professional towards him. There was this incredibly poorly planned moment where Don had just been fired and the general manager of the radio station had to, I guess, sign off some stuff or whatever it was. Don had just been fired and he came back to the radio station and it was our first day. And I was in the office. I was sitting in the office with the general manager when Don came in. And I stood up. I immediately knew who he was. I'm not fucking afraid of, a confrontation because I'm not a confrontational guy. I feel like I can diffuse shit. Hearing that he was this big roided up jerk, I stood up and I go, Don, how are you? And I told him my name and I put my hand out there and I said to him, we have some mutual friends in this business. And he looked at me and he said, fuck you. And I said, oh, really? Okay. And then I just sat back down in the chair and let the general manager handle it because it was my first day. But what a dick. And then he was leaving and he was out by the elevators and I was walking down the hallway and I passed the elevator and I stopped and it was just me and him in the hallway. And I said to him, I go, dude, you know what? This is the business. I have no ill will towards you. You, I hope don't have any ill will. And he said, fuck you again. And he got in the elevator. I'm like, what? I don't know you, dude. You and I didn't come up together. I shouldn't have any regret about being offered your job because you fucking couldn't pull ratings. So that was our first day. So we were on the hot seat, man. I don't know if you guys remember the history of 105.3 back then, but they had been pretty solid in mornings with Howard Stern and Russ Martin in afternoons, but it was their midday situation that was an absolute fucking train wreck. I think they had some dude originally, some country dude that they switched to a talker named AW or something, or A something, Pantoya or whatever. I just hear wonderful things about that guy. I hear that guy was freaking peaches, just the coolest. So, but he, wasn't his thing. He was, I guess, a country music jock. So he left. And then they brought in Ed Till. Eddie Till! Oh, I love Ed Till. One of my old Luke brethren. from the Loop in Chicago, Ed Till. And they brought in Ed Till to do middays. And I guess he only lasted like 9 months, as Ed Till is known to do. Not because he fucking sucks, but because he's really good. And he likes to fight. And yeah, so that's why Ed didn't make it. I'm sure that Ed Till didn't go over great with it's kind of a smart ass New York liberal. So yeah, I can see how that wouldn't work in the station they were trying to build, anchored by Howard Stern in mornings and Russ Martin in afternoons. And then who'd they go? Then they brought in Ron and Don. And they were like, okay, let's get a show that we think this format is all. And they brought in Ron and Don, and they lasted a year, and they didn't get any ratings. And then so they brought in the boss of the radio station, who the general manager, guy who was in charge, was from Chicago. He's from our radio station. He created Kelly and I. And the minute he had an opportunity, Kelly and I were on nights in Chicago. The minute he had an opportunity, he was like, come on. It's like, this is where you belong. So that's when Kelly and I took over middays. And I told you all of that because of the carnage of shows in a 2-year period. It had only been a 2-year period. And we were like the 4th show, maybe even the 5th. I think they tried out another one for a few months, syndicated. So you guys might remember better than me. But whatever it was, in 2 years, like 4 shows, and one of those shows was there for a year. I mean, that's just insane. So the heat was on us. We only had a 1-year deal. And although we did have, the boss of the radio station, the guy whose vision it was to build 105.3, the guy who the company went to because he had just built that in Chicago with WCKG, the package. He had built that. They brought him down here. They put him in charge. His vision, he was our guy, so we felt a little bit safe there. But we knew, Kelly and I, hey, we're on the air the first day. We're talking like this. Hey, Dallas, it's great to be here. Nice. It's nice weather down here. Hey, can I get a sausage sandwich anywhere around here? We were fucking, who the fuck are these people? And rightfully so. So anyway, Kelly and I decided, we thought, well, it was Kelly actually who said it, and we were sitting on the steps out in front of the old Merritt Studios, and she said, we're going to make these people like us. I'm like, that's easy for you. Everybody likes you. You're like a little bubbly butterfly, and yeah, I'm the awkward, weird guy who's got, opinions that people don't like. It's easy for you. But she said, no, we're going to go out. We're going to go out every night of the week. We're going to go to sales tomorrow, and we're going to say, put us in every bar anywhere. Doesn't matter. Let us shake hands. Let us be out and hanging out with people. Let us make friends with the audience. We'll do it one by one if we fucking have to. And we did that, and it worked. And that is why we put a big emphasis on getting out here with what we're doing here, what we're trying to build here, this Radio Misfits thing. Trust me when I tell you I have the vision. What I don't have is the financial backing. But to create a fun house kind of local content that is live every day, that's what we're doing. So in order to do that, we have to do these appearances, and we have to do these games, and we have to go out and we have to create spectacles and events. And, Sunbrew is our partner there. And what better promotional arm in this town than Sunbrew? They've been doing it for 20 years. They're great. They built Dodgeball. I told Brandon that when he was in there. I said, look, Dodgeball was a great fucking idea, and we will take credit for that, but it wouldn't have been as big as it became. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for exclusive. I think it was $200,000. I think it was the third year. By the time we were doing Dodgeball, the third year was $200,000 just so Bud Light could say it's Bud Light, Pugs and Kelly Dodgeball. $200,000. I mean, that's for one sponsor. That's one sponsor. Not to mention Dukes and, all the other, liquors and stuff. It was a big moneymaker, and that was because of Brandon. So that was great. So Brandon and I are at it again, or actually I should say Brandon's at it again. He's doing things, and he's trying to include us here at Radio Misfits Dallas and the Rant, and we are eternally grateful for that. He's always been so down with the ideas, so that's cool. But tonight is the first one. So if I can direct your attention downstairs, right there, look at the bottom of the screen. It's scrolling there. We're going to be at the back 9 tonight. We're going to do trivia. Okay. We're doing, trash trivia. Now this is, it's a work in progress. Here's what it is. It's an excuse for us to get together. We've been saying this for, a long time. We need this chat room, all of us. I get it. It's fun because it's anonymous and we never have to see each other. But why can't we see each other? I'd like to get a microphone and a recorder and record Byron and Adam talking, you know? I understand some of us can't do it. I understand, like Jeff. Jeff is always going, hey, somebody can call Jeff. We can put Jeff on on Zoom. Jeff in Iowa can attend. So, Peter says, why does Adam have an issue with Brandon? I saw he mentioned it the other day in chat. Well, I mean, Adam can probably tell you, but Peter, Adam has a problem with just about everyone. So, what are you talking about, man? I mean, it's hard for me to name somebody who is in my orbit who is a friend that Adam doesn't dislike. And I'm like, wow, that is really shocking because I don't have asshole friends. I have in the past, and they're not, we don't talk about them. They're not around anymore. But most of my friends are like really good people. Like they might be interesting, they might do, but they're good people, they care about other people. And that's really my only prerequisite for being my friend. You have to care about other people. You can't be one of these guys that's like, oh, fuck that, fuck them, fuck those people, right? I don't like that. Yeah, that's fucking not cool. So that's all it takes to be my friend. Just at some point, show me that you fucking care about people, okay? That you're not just in this for yourself. But I don't know why Adam. I don't know why Adam has a problem with. Look, here's why. I'll tell you why he probably's got a problem with Brandon, because Brandon is a goddamn hustler who's got 50 things going at once. And he probably ran into him somewhere. And, Brandon is a type. Brandon is a dude. Brandon is a kind of guy. He is into BMX and motocross and skateboarding and all of that. And, that's kind of the way he dresses and the way he presents. And I think maybe he was, Adam perceived something as maybe douchey, or I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's certainly not the dude, And I also understand this is something that's very tricky. I understand that they're like, and we all have this in our lives. Like we are all friends with people that other people, dislike. And I'm not saying that this is the case with Brandon or Emil or Aaron or any of my best friends, But we all maybe I can't see it because maybe they treat me different. I don't know. Maybe I can't see it or whatever. But all I know is that, if somebody ever shows me that they don't care about other people and they're an asshole on top of it, and you can be an asshole and still care about people. You can. Schwartz is a great example of that. He's a very compassionate dude. I mean, I know him. He's one of my best friends. Emil, Aaron, Ed, Schwartz, that's the big group. What was I saying? Schwartz is like an asshole. I'm like, dude, you're an asshole. But I also know that he's an incredibly compassionate and decent and loving man. All right. So tonight, if you can make it, that'd be great. Oh, check this out. Yeah, look at this. Everybody who comes out is gonna get. Yeah, you come out and sign up, dude. Trust me, you're gonna get some of these. Here's what we got. We got Rush. Let me read it to you. It says a Rush. You'll get a whole box. You come in, you get the whole box of this. It's this energy drink stuff. It's like a month's supply or something. I don't know. It says here, what are we looking at? There you go. So look, just for coming out, just for supporting us, you're gonna get something. This is like an $80 value. $80. Brandon. He's got so many different sponsorship deals going. It says Rush. The Ring Rush Energy, Nootropic, Brain Fuel, Get Focused, Be Productive, Smooth Ride. I don't know what that means, but everybody who comes out tonight and signs up at 6:00 at the back nine is going to get this, an $80 value, Rhino Rush, full box. I guess that's a month's supply. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's 31 of them. All right, whatever. That's what you're going to get. And that's a fucking cool prize. And that's the kind of shit that Brandon brings to the table. Brent, this is why we need partnerships with people. This is why Radio Misfits Dallas will grow when we find the right people to be our partners. That's awesome. So very cool. Everybody who comes out and signs up tonight at 6:00 are going to take that home just as a thank you. And why are we thanking you for this? I'll tell you. This show runs on your tips. This show runs on your gratuities, and you fucking people, you've kept this thing afloat for 3 years. between you, my friends who are supportive, my mother who is endlessly supportive, endlessly. That's got to stop. And I need to get over my whole thing about not wanting to deal with advertisers, right? I had this vision that we could build the audience large enough that there would be enough through donations a la PBS or whatever, like the way those things are done. And I've seen other people do the donation thing and they make great money. But the show didn't grow. And the show didn't grow for whatever reason. And so now we get to this point where like next week, here we are, next week, it's going to be a pledge week or maybe not, right? It depends. I'll tell you what that means. So I want to stop doing that. I need to stop doing that. When we were doing mansplaining, when I was doing all the filling in over at the what was it, the Freak, the Eagle, we stopped doing that. We stopped for the period of time there because I hate to do it. But the unfortunate reality is that when there is no other stream, we got to ask you people to help out. And you people have helped out. But if we can have parties, if we can have get-togethers where people come out once a week, we can then turn that into a thing where we don't any longer have to ask you and beg or have a pledge week, right? Because now we will be able to take this on the road after hours and show other businesses that, look, this is how we're going to grow. And again, the old Pugs and Kelly method of, being somewhere, shaking hands, someone who does, people, our show grew exponentially because of dodgeball, because one person created a team at work of dodgeball players, brought 10 people from work who didn't listen to Pugs and Kelly. And then they did. And then they did because of dodgeball. Because also, Kelly and Sybil tirelessly work in the room, meeting everybody. I don't know you. Why don't you listen? What's your name? And, Kelly writing people's names down. I'm going to make fun of you tomorrow because you're not a listener. That kind of shit. That kind of apex level campaigning. It was great. So that's what we're going to start to doing tonight is the first. So, hey, look, here's something you can do. If you can't make it, but you got a friend there, you have a friend come by and sign up and they'll get one of these. Well, a whole box. There you go. Stay and play a game of trivia. But see, that's how you help this show. That's how we stop with the pledge week nonsense. And it's not nonsense. It's important. What's nonsense is that that's how we keep this show going. So, Barney says YouTube sucks for organic growth. It sure does. It really does. But, so does this show. Let's just be honest. This show sucks for organic growth, which is why we're trying to change it up, trying to keep it going, trying to, and we will. I think it'll be great. Peter's in the chat room. Let's say hi to some of our folks in the chat room. What do you guys got going on? What are you guys talking about? Let's see here. Hold on. Oh my God, my screen is not big enough. Peter says, so you got to make the Rant a traveling circus and not just in Addison, but all over the Metroplex. Well, yeah, that's the plan. I mean, I'm downtown. Addison ain't really convenient for me either, but I get that for some people it's a little farther. I get it. Here we go. Peter also says, I'd love to start hanging out with the Rant crew. Well, tonight's your first chance, but I get it, Peter. Peter does enough, right? Peter's an example of someone who is not required to come out tonight. Okay, none of you are required. My point being, Peter tips every day. I mean, how often is Peter the executive producer? Peter came by and brought that sign. I mean, nobody is as ardently supportive. I shouldn't say nobody. Nobody is more ardently supportive than Peter. How's that? That's a good. Well, that's not true either. Because, sorry, Peter, but you don't even come close to my mom, okay? That's the one. And then it goes, Mom. And then there's like 1 and 1A, which would be Emil and Ed. And then comes Peter. That's it. That's how we do it. Jeff, our correspondent in the cornfields, he's out there. He says, or at least grow enough so I can get that Pugs & Co. Rant tote bag for my Pledge Week donations. Yeah, I appreciate that. Jeff is also a good Pledge Weeker, and Jeff is a long and storied citizen of the chat room, and now an actual friend of mine, and he's in Iowa, so there is no expectation. And Jeff is a tipper and all of that stuff, so he's good. You guys are all good. Look, you're all good. I'm not going to turn this into, let's call out the people who've never been executive producers. That's not what this is. You guys are all fucking awesome. We have fun on this show. And we got to start doing parties. If you can, that would be great. If this thing is a failure and the bar's like, yeah, well, we're not going to do this again, that kind of thing. So if you can, you can. If you can't, you can't, like I always say. I have zero expectations for other people to make my thing, that's my thing. But if you want to, that'd be great. Come on out. And free stuff, a whole box. My kid was taking this. My kid, it's supposed to be for it says it's energy, but it's nootropic, it's brain fuel. So it's more like, it's supposed to keep you sharp. Like that kind of thing. Like you take some and you're like, okay, you're dialed in. Like what cocaine did for people in the 70s and 80s. That whole thing. Keep you really focused. My son was taking it. My son took 2 of these. Not 2 of them at the same time because you should only take 1. I'm going to try one right now. See if it makes the show any better. Look at me almost breaking a tooth. How about that? All right, here we go. All right, let me try this right here. We'll do a taste test. This is the Rush Energy Nootropic. What flavor is this? This is the blue flavor. There's a pink flavor. All right, so here we go. Let's try this. Oh! Okay. You know what I think? You know what I think I would do? I think I would pour that in water. Boom. I think that's what I would do. Because, it's like the little shots that you get when you need the energy boost. So it's a little concentrated. I might mix that in some water. That's good, though. All right, now let's see. Let's see if this show is any better. Let's see if I'm any wittier. Let's see if that's a thing. We'll find out. Brandon is in the chat room. All right, Brandon. Rhino Rush. Yeah, isn't that what I've been calling it? Rhino. Oh, my God. So I'm working on... I don't do imitations. Y'all know I don't do imitations, but I've been working on Trump, not because I want to do a Trump imitation, but because my 15-year-old son does a killer Trump. My kid, he's like, and he just whipped it out of nowhere. We were in the car Saturday, and and I was talking to him about driving because he's got his driver's permit and he's learning how to drive. And so everything that I'm doing in the car with him, I'm explaining to him what I'm doing. And he just started answering as if he was President Trump getting a driving. It was very funny. I won't even try to replicate it. But he had the voice. I'm like, dude. I go, you got that voice. He goes, yeah, I know. You go, yeah, my friends all say I got it too. I'm like, no, dude, you got that voice. Keep working on it. So that was funny. So Rhino. So I've been trying to do it too. But Rhino Rush. There you go. Come on out tonight at 6:00 and we'll all have a good time. All right. What do you say we get started on the show? It is going to be a traditional show. No guest today. We got a big day. We got a big day going on. I'll tell you about the guest that was supposed to be here today, which I was hoping would be like, this is not his fault. I mean, I sprung it on him like 24 hours ahead of time. But I was thinking, my buddy Grego from the old Hardline, Greg Williams. He and I, we have such great chemistry on Twitter. At least I think we do. I don't know. Maybe he does too. And I'm like, Greg, you got to come in. You got to come in and you just got to sit in here and just be the fucking hammer. Let me say all of my bullshit and then you just be the hammer. I'm telling you, that is something. Just letting that radio Hall of Famer just go. I love that guy, Grego. I love both of those guys. And you know what I love both of those guys being Mike Reiner and Greg Williams. And you know what I love most about those two guys? And I haven't told Greg this, but I did tell Mike this. I was in a relationship with a radio partner for 20 something, right? You know, me and Kelly were together for 20 years. We had all kinds of successes and we had experiences that we never, you know, like, can you believe we're doing that? You know, like that. We had these kinds of things. And the only other person in the world who I could share that with was her, because she was also there going, yeah, that's true. I can't tell you how many times when I was in Chicago, when I'd be with friends and I'd be talking about something that I'd have to call Kelly to have her prove something. That, Kelly, didn't this happen when we were in Iceland with the chick from American Pie? And, you know, stuff like that. And I said to Mike, you know, Mike and Greg, they are quite possibly, the Hardline is quite possibly the greatest sports talk show in history. And I'm not being, Pugs is in Dallas and these are his friends. Look at Super Bowls, okay? Look at Super Bowl trophies. If we're just going to say that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time because of the Super Bowl trophies, then the Hardline in Dallas is the greatest sports radio show in history because of the fucking Marconis, which are the Super Bowl trophy of radio. And they've got like 5 of them. Ridiculous. I mean, it is. I know people here in Dallas remember the Hardline in the glory days, and they think of it as this like really important thing. But I'm here to tell you that it's also a thing in other parts of the country, especially in radio circles. Everybody knows. So I was hoping to have Greg, but he was like, "Bugs, God damn it, man, I'm out of time, man." I'm like, Greg, it's all right. It's important for me to get you in here. We're gonna get you. He's like, when can I come back? I'm like, how about next week? So we'll do that. And then I'm gonna go out to on Friday. You guys might want to. I'll promote this a little bit more. I'll be out in Arlington, I think on Friday afternoon for Mike Reiner's Dark Companion. You know, his taping. He's doing it out there for Ranger, whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is. I don't have all the information, but I'm gonna be out there because Greg's gonna be out there with him. So Mike and Greg were partners just like Kelly and I, and they were very close and sometimes not so close, just like with partners. And they were estranged for a period of time, just like many great radio teams, you know, they always get estranged. And I haven't talked to him in 10 years, that son of a bitch. And then there's like millions of listeners who are just like, oh, please, we just want mommy and daddy to get back together. You know, so that was kind of how I felt with Mike Reiner and Grego. I'm like, no, these guys cannot dislike each other because that invalidates all of my connections with that show over these years. What are you saying? It was all a lie? Those two dudes are like buddies again. And it's the most glorious thing. You know, these two old Hall of Fame radio icons who refuse to talk, they now sit around and bust each other's balls in Mike's home studio, and it's marvelous. And so I think Greg's going to be out there on Friday as well with Reiner. I'll have more information about it. Just if you follow Mike Reiner or if you follow Stolen Water Media or, you know, My Dark Companion, all of that, they'll have all that information. And I'll have more of it later in the week. But right now today, it's just about the one thing, and that is tonight at the Back Nine, where everybody who signs up at 6:00 to play in our first attempt at trivia, everybody gets one of these, a box of Rhino Rush. All right, that's enough. I've pushed it too far. Hi, Frankie B. Frankie B's in the chat room. What's Frankie B talking about? Frankie says, make it easy to tip. Links a button right on the bar there. Yeah, well, I do that. You know what? I should. It's a great idea. I should. I'm so shame. You know, I have shame. Frankie, I'm sorry, bud. I have shame, and I don't like that. But got to get over my shit, don't I, man? I'm all up in my bag of bullshit again. Ugh. What does that say? Ballard says, too bad you couldn't get Parker to sit in or at least do a couple night shows a month with him. Well, who says I can't? I mean, hey, what happened to my eagle? My eagle went away. What the fudge, people? I lost my eagle. Oh, it did that thing that it does. It goes 32 minutes. It's supposed to go for a full hour of static, you know, just But at 32 minutes, it decides that it's done. It's been doing that lately. Don't know why that is. What was I talking about? Parker? Too bad you couldn't get Parker to sit in or at least do a couple of night shows a month with him. Well, Parker's sitting in here on the noon show. That's a non-starter because he's got his WBAP show, 93.3, starts at 2 o'clock, 2 minutes. Don't go. Stay here with me. You can go to him later. He's great. He's great. But, let's be honest. You're here. Why would I? All right. If you want to go over and listen to Parker, 93.3 FM here in Dallas right now, starting in 2 minutes. Fine. There you go. Fine. But I'll not forget that. I haven't talked to Parker in a while. Parker's pissed at me. Well, he's not pissed at me. We don't get pissed at each other. We just get butthurt and then don't talk for a couple of weeks and all of that. He's mad at me because I'm dragging my feet on the 105.3 documentary thing that he did all kinds of like really incredible work on, and I can't go there. I'm a mental basket case, man. I know that's no excuse. Another failure. All right, what do you say we get started on the show? We'll do a regular rant here. Those of y'all know what a regular rant is. It's going to be the 4 quarters. First, we're going to start and talk about the history of today, riff on that, then birthdays. Then we'll get into people who died on this day. We'll determine whether or not they went to heaven or hell. And then we'll get into the topics. And if you know anything about this show, it seems like it's been changing, right? Like the last couple, I'm moving away from, God, there's so much. There's so much stuff that I want to rant on that I just want to, but it's, we don't do politics here. But I'm going to talk about the oops. Oh, you better believe it. I'm going to talk about the oops that happened last night. But I think I'm going to talk about it in a way that nobody else is talking about it. Not looking to cast blame. We'll talk about the oops. The big oops. What else do we have today coming up? The other thing that I was like a little bit nervous about talking about. We're going to talk about fucking Elon and his weird fucking fork video. Have you seen this video? I'm going to explain what's going on there. And it's fine, but I'm going to tell you what's going on there, okay? You may not like what you hear. Elon Musk is sitting there in front of all of these important people, and by that I mean feet away from the President of the United States, who is sitting like at the same table, just a couple chairs away. People talking about important shit, and this dude is acting like a 4-year-old at a fucking retirement party for his grandpa. It was awful. But I do have thoughts. What else are we going to talk about today? We got a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, let's get going. Because again, I got to be at the back 9 at 6 o'clock so we can do the cool ass trivia game. That'll be fun. All right, what do you say we get started? Here we go. Let's start the rant. Welcome, one and all. Today is March the 25th. That's right, March the 25th. Did you know it's the 84th day of the year? 281 days remain until the end of the year. Let's get started with the very first segment. We call that Antecedently on This Day. By the way, it was driving me nuts. I asked at the start of the show yesterday, before we called this part of the show Antecedently on This Day, what do we call it? We called it something else. There was another weird name. I don't remember what it was. And I asked you people in the chat room, I said, what did we call Antecedently on This Day before? And then I forgot to check the chat room because I was talking to Schwartz, right? Remember I told you I was ignoring you people when I shouldn't? So I don't know that any of you got the answer, but it was driving me nuts. The answer is, before we called the segment Antecedently on This Day, we called it Erstwhile on This Day. That's what it was. It was erstwhile. And I couldn't think of that word. I'm like, what was the fucking stupid word that I used to use? All right, let's get started. Antecedently on This Day. This is where we look back at all the events that have helped shape this day. And, just whatever. Antecedently on this day in the year 1911. In New York City, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire kills 146 garment workers. This was a big deal. This was a big deal not because it was a fire and not because 146 people were killed in it. It's a big deal because this fire on this day in 1911 changed fire safety codes forever, and it also changed child labor laws forever. The Triangle Shirtwaist factory fire in New York City was basically, it was a building that was filled with poor people on sewing machines 24 hours a day. It was what was known back in the day as a sweatshop. And they also had a whole lot of not underage children. They used child labor back then in 1911. And the problem that businesses were having, and this was common practice, and Triangle Shirtwaist Factory had this problem. The problem was a lot of times the kids would leave or people would try to quit. They'd have enough because they got no breaks and it was just nonstop hell in there. Sweatshops. And they got no breaks. And so they'd try to leave and they'd quit in the middle of the day and then production would fall off. So what businesses began to do was barricade the workers in the room. Lock the doors from the outside. Well, on this day in 1911, a fire broke out and everybody died. Everybody. Why am I applauding? That's the wrong button. Everybody died. That changed fire coding for business practices, child labor laws, everything. It was on this day in 1911. The Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. It's a factory, bunch of garment workers, 146 died. On this day in 1947, an explosion in a coal mine in Centralia, Illinois, kills 111 workers. I don't know why I mentioned that one. It's kind of slim pickings on the cool things that have occurred on this day, and I thought it fit well with the Triangle Factory Fire. Antecedently on this day in the year 1957, the United States Customs. All right, okay, so we'll get into this one. So on this day, the government of the United States seized all the copies of Allen Ginsberg's poem, Howl. So Allen Ginsberg is a beat poet. He's a very famous American writer. He wrote, he was a poet, man. He had some ideas. He was for artists and all that stuff. And a lot of the things that he wrote about, people were like, that's wrong. He wrote about homosexuality. Ooh, my goodness. Back in the 1950s. Anyway, the point is this: the government didn't like what he was reading, and the government really didn't like that young people were interested in Allen Ginsberg. So they decided that he was obviously a communist and he needed to be stopped. So mind you, 1957, the United States government seized all of these books. Now, do you think the United States government can do that? Is that something that you think? Because I'm telling you, it happened in 1957. Do you think the United States government, we, the country with the First Amendment and all of that kind of stuff, do you think that the government can seize poetry because they don't like the ideas behind the prose? Don't answer that. It was rhetorical. They can't. We've never been able to do that. Yet here in 1957, they did it. They just did it. They're like, fuck people's rights. Let's just do it. Now, why do I mention this? Because in the last couple of years, certainly since 2016, the Trump administrations have been doing some very non-traditional maneuvering in the space of Washington, doing things way differently. And a lot of people, you hear it, this is America. That has never been done in the history. We've done some fucked up shit that flies in the face of everything that our Constitution is supposed to stand for. We have done it time and time again. Now, the good news is that the system, the institution held, because the other parts of our government were able to step in and right the wrong. And the Supreme Court stepped in and said, look, United States government, you don't like the poetry, but this is a First Amendment issue. You can't be seizing all of Allen Ginsberg's works. And that's how America works. 3 parts: executive, legislative, judicial, right? One side gets fucking nuts, another side steps in. But don't try and tell me that we've never had instances throughout the history of this country where the system, where the institutions have been tested. They've always held. Let's see. Let's roll the dice. Let's see how we do this time. I am a great believer in the institutions. I am a great believer in the 3-headed monster that is the executive, legislative, and judicial. So we shall see. All right, moving forward. That was on this day in 1965. Everybody just threw out the First Amendment and the government went, let's try it. Let's see if anybody notices. The Supreme Court did, thankfully. Antecedently on this day in 1965, civil rights activists led by Martin Luther King Jr. successfully complete their 4-day, 50-mile march from Selma to the Capitol in Montgomery, Alabama. Right? What is what's the big? Okay, that's a big deal. I don't know much about it. I was educated a white kid. In a white neighborhood by white public schools in the 1970s. They were still in the 1970s when I was being taught about civil rights and stuff. Two problems. One, we were still using books and stuff, like stuff from like before all this shit happened. So it was never really covered. But then also, just from like a regular, mindset, King was still controversial. We think about Martin Luther King now. We think about Mother Teresa and Gandhi and Martin Luther King, right? That's 2025. Like 1975, you still had people going, that son of a bitch should have thrown him in jail. I'm glad they can, you had people like that. They were still comfortable with that. Now he's been exalted, and now time, will always, the great measure of the man is time. So now we know. But I wasn't really taught about, I was never taught about Selma. I was never taught about civil rights, not until college. I had to get into college before I learned any of this stuff. All right, that's going to do it, folks. Yay, quarter one. Now let's do birthdays. Let's talk about some people who are celebrating birthdays today. And when I say people, what I mean are celebrities, notable quotables, people of interest. Here we go. Who's having a birthday today? Born on this day. Y'all knew there was a junior. Did you know there was an original? Born on this day in 1901, iconic American actor from the early days, Ed Begley. That's right. Oh, yeah, we all know Ed Begley Jr., but did you know his dad? His dad was Ed Begley. Ed Begley, 12 Angry Men. That's where I remember. So when I think of Ed Begley, I'm like, yeah, 12 Angry Men. Born on this day in 1901, Ed Begley. And I'm not calling him senior. You notice how I'm not calling him senior? And more to the point, you notice Wikipedia doesn't call him senior. You know why? Because there was no reason for him to have that distinction. He was a famous actor named Ed Begley, who then had a son that he named Ed Begley, as is often the custom. And because he didn't want there to be any confusion later in life, the son was given the designate junior. There's no reason for the dad to be senior. Oh, God. This drives me nuts. You know it does with NFL uniforms. These fucking idiots are running around with football uniforms. They've got like a 6-month-old son who's a junior. And so now they're running around with senior on your uniform. That's not how it works. This is how we dumb shit down just a little bit. I mean, I guess it's fine if they just want to. I'm just here to say that's not traditionally how it's supposed to work. Ed Begley, born on this day in 1901. Nobody ever fucking called him Ed Begley Sr. Born on this day in 1918, Howard Cosell. Oh, people hated this dude. You want to talk about probably the most, or I would say the foundational. How's this? Howard Cosell is the foundational figure in the history of American hot sports opinions. That's Howard Cosell. Sure, before Howard Cosell, there were dudes who just reported sports. The Yankees and the Brooklyn Dodgers went at it. They didn't have hot sports opinions. They gave you scores, and that's it. Howard Cosell comes on the scene. Oh, my God, this dude's a troll-ass shit talker. He's fucking with people, saying things that like people are like, what? Here's the other side of Howard Cosell. By the way, I loved Howard Cosell as a kid. He was fun. He was like Monday Night Football. Howard, OJ, Frank. That was it, right? Howard, OJ, and Frank. Maybe we mix in a little Dandy Don. Remember when Dandy Don Gifford used to sing, "Shut up the lights, the party's over." I love Dandy Don. OJ. OJ was in that booth. Anyway, Howard Cosell, born on this day in 1918, he was a dick. That's what I wanted to get to. He's a jerk. Everybody hates Howard Cosell. Everybody hates Howard Cosell. Anybody from back when he was alive that dealt with them, do you want to know how much Howard Cosell is hated? Let me show you. All right, let me show you how much Howard Cosell is hated. All right. One of the nicest guys who never talks shit on anybody, right? One of the wait, I don't want a long one. All right, let's give this a listen. This will work. So no less a nice guy than Bob Costas. Any opportunity that Bob Costas gets to kick the fucking shit out of the corpse of Howard Cosell, Bob Costas takes. Bob Costas, a nice man. You know, like Bob Costas isn't a provocative shit talker and all that kind of stuff. Bob Costas on Howard Cosell is eye-opening. Here we have an example of it. There's a number of stories here, Bob Costas on Howard Cosell, but let's watch this.
He was simultaneously a cartoon character, the character of Howard Cosell, but he was also a very consequential figure. He resented Al Michaels, he resented me and others that he couldn't easily dismiss as lightweights.
Tell about being John Madden's audition partner.
1979, I'm 27 years old, look like I'm about 15, and I was doing regional games for CBS. And I'm thinking, boy, could I possibly be any luckier? So John Madden has just quit coaching, and it's not at all clear to him or to CBS that he's going to become John Madden, the broadcaster and pop culture figure. But they thought he might have a future in it. So they want to do an audition game. And my job is just to provide the framework of a broadcast, to give the nuts and bolts of play-by-play. He did much better than he thought. He was very nervous, but you could tell right away that there was something unique about him that he brought to it. He wasn't copying anybody else. He didn't know.
The fuck? Is this a Howard Cosell thing or a John Madden thing, for crying out loud? It says quite clearly Bob Costas on Howard Cosell. All right, let's fast forward a little bit here. Here we go.
Time.
And Howard Cosell.
Oh, here we go.
He took up 75-80% of the frame.
What's the deal with you and Howard Cosell?
Well, it's a multifaceted deal. I met him for the first time at the World Series in Baltimore, the Phillies and the Orioles at the old Memorial Stadium in 1983. He's wearing that hideous mustard yellow ABC blazer. He's brandishing a cigar about the size of a Louisville Slugger. And I say, Mr. Cosell, my name is Bob Costas. It's a pleasure to meet you. And he goes, I know who you are. You're the child who rhapsodizes about the infield fly rule. I'm sure you'll have a fine career. And he flicked the cigar ash and walked back into the booth. And my first thought is, this is the biggest schmuck I have ever encountered. But then in the next instant, I'm thinking, no, this is great. I got the full Howard Cosell treatment. And here we are. I got a story I'm telling some 40 years later. Now, subsequently, I wouldn't say we became close friends, but we were acquainted, and I worked up the gumption to challenge him on a few occasions. I said, you know, Howard, you should be to all of us in sports broadcasting what Walter Cronkite is to young newscasters. You should be the emeritus guy. You should be the guy we turn to. But because you can't be comfortable with all you've achieved, and you have so much resentment of others, you've alienated many of us. And I want to be, if not your friend, I want you to understand, even though we're different, how much I admire the best of what you did. And he paused for a second, he goes, we were on the phone. Maybe you're right, kid. Maybe you're right. All right, we'll talk again soon. But we never did, and he died shortly.
All right, so maybe there was a bit of a nice, and not only, if there was any niceness to the relationship, it's obviously only because Bob Costas pursued Howard Cosell, born on this day, legendary dick to a whole lot of people. Here's one that's not. Yeah, we're going to do this. Happy birthday, born on this day in 1928, a man I have met multiple times, a man still alive because... trust me, I'll know when that's. Wait a second. I'm like, trust me, I'll know. Now I need to double check. No, of course he is. Of course he is. He's still alive. I can't kill this man. The world tried to. The universe tried to kill this man, but I take my hat off and I salute the greatness of Jim Lovell. That's right, Jim Lovell, astronaut, commander of Apollo 13. Tom Hanks played him in the movie. I can't tell you how much I love Jim Lovell. The first time that I interviewed Jim Lovell, or the first time I met Jim Lovell, was at the Chicago Film Critics Award, and it was during Apollo 13. Apollo 13 had won a whole bunch of awards at the Chicago Film Critics Award, and I got a chance. I had critic credentials because I was working on a morning show at the time, and I was doing movie reviews. So I got to actually sit in a green room next to Jim Lovell, and I got to introduce myself. And I introduced myself because they were scheduled to come on the morning radio show that I was the producer of and sidekick on the next morning. So I wanted to make sure that we knew each other. Jim Lovell knew everything about the radio station. It turns out that Jim Lovell, Apollo 13, he was a lifelong Chicagoan. I guess maybe he still is. He lived in Evanston. He was familiar with the show. He was a wonderful man, or is a wonderful man. Not was, is. The great Jim Lovell, commander of Apollo 13, was born on this day. What year? I want to make sure. It's a long time ago, you guys. 1928, 70, 80, 90, 95, 96, 90 fucking 7. 97 years old for the great Jim Lovell, commander of Apollo 13. Seriously, man. How many times have you seen that? Well, maybe I'm weird. I've seen that movie like easily a dozen times. And it's also one of these movies that I'm waiting to watch Apollo 13 with my son. You know, I always try to introduce my 15-year-old to movies and all that kind of stuff. But Apollo 13 is so important to me on so many levels. One, it's a space thing. And two, it's an incredibly well done Ron Howard space thing starring Tom Hanks. I mean, it's pedigreed to the 10th degree. And thirdly, just because of the role that movie played in like my early career, like that's the, well, apropos of nothing, but that is the night where I got to sit one-on-one alone in a room with Tom Hanks for like 20 minutes because I was the last one. He had just won Best Actor at the Chicago Film Critics Award for Apollo 13. And there was a number of us that were covering there. There was probably only about 5 of us, actual, critics and stuff. Roger Ebert, Richard Roper, those kinds of people. And they all went first. And I was like the radio guy and I went last. So I went into the room and I sat down and we were only allowed 5 minutes. And no one ever stopped us. We just kept talking and kept talking. And I am the one who went, well, gee, thank you, Mr. Hanks. I think we got enough. And he's like, oh, come on, it's Tom. He was, I know a lot of you think he's a pedophile child pornographer. But Tom fucking Hanks was exactly who you want Tom Hanks to be. That's my impression of him. Now, again, he may have been performing because, he was, talking to who he believed was a film critic and all that, or whatever. He was a good dude, all right? He was a good dude. Happy birthday on this day, 1928. Jim Lovell was born into the world. Born on this day in 1934, Gloria Steinem. She's a big woman, equal right ERA and, National Organization of Women kind of deal. Here was her deal. So Gloria Steinem, there were a whole lot of women who were, radically, involved in the whole women's movement kind of a deal. Betty Friedan, who was the author of The Feminine Mystique, was the default leader of the American women's movement. Betty Friedan was who the big draw was at all of these rallies and all this kind of stuff. But unfortunately, Betty Friedan looked like Shrek. Okay, she looked like Shrek, and she talked like she was like an old lady from the Bronx. She kind of had that deal. She wasn't very telegenic. The movement was going to stall out if it was Betty Friedan who was leading the charge. So what they did was they looked in the ranks and they found the hottest, most articulate young hippie girl. And they designated her as the new leader and spokesperson for the Equal Rights Amendment and women's movement. And that's Gloria Steinem. Born on this day, Gloria Steinem. She was hot too. Actually, you know what? I don't know if Gloria Steinem was hot. I think she might have been. Like, I'm thinking of pictures of her and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of hot. But here's how you know she was considered hot in her time. This is how you know. Because every movie that's been made that has a character who is Gloria Steinem, and she's in a lot of movies, any historical movie is like, oh, who's playing Gloria Steinem in this? Every time they cast a woman to play Gloria Steinem, it is a fucking smoke show actress. It is just like, Oh, Minka Kelly from Friday Night Lights. She's playing Gloria Steinem. Oh, sure, that makes sense. Oh, who's that? Gal Gadot in a 2015 Hallmark movie as Gloria Steinem? I don't know if those people ever... That's the kind of actress I'm talking about. Gloria Steinem, born on this day in 1934. Born on this day in 1942, Aretha Franklin. I'm just gonna tell my Aretha Franklin story, but I am going to ask a question. Well, I guess maybe you wouldn't know this, or would you know this? I know this. I believe this to be true. I think Aretha Franklin is the fattest person we've ever allowed be famous. There, I said it. I said it. And why did we allow Aretha Franklin to get to be like 600 pounds? And yeah, she was. I stood next to her at the 92 Democratic National Convention. She couldn't move around. I mean, she moved around on a cart, like, you know, like on a big, it was a wheelchair, but it was like a big wheelchair. Like it was a wheelchair, like something I'd never seen. Yeah, she let herself get really big. She was always kind of big, like going back, like even in the Blues Brothers, you know, but that's like NBA wife big. She was Big Mama big in 1980. That's, you know, that'll play in certain households. But man, by the time 1992 came around, she was so big. And I remember at the time thinking to myself, they don't allow people to be this obese and still famous. So what's the deal with Aretha? And then I quickly came around to, she's fucking undeniable. She's undeniable. My God, she could, Aretha Franklin, the queen of soul. It doesn't matter what she looks like. She opens that mouth and starts singing and everybody can just go kick rocks. She's the best. I got pushed in a room with her. I was at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago in 92, and it was in the lobby of the Chicago Hilton, which is right there on Michigan Avenue. And that was part of the headquarters of, I don't know what was going on, dude. I was just a kid. I was covering it. I was just trying to get tape of famous people. And I was standing next to Aretha Franklin because I was trying to get a conversation going with her. And just at that moment, we were all swept. The people in our little area were swept into this conference room because apparently somebody important was coming through and they have to so anyway, I'm in this like little room, not a conference room, like a big one at a hotel, just like a little room. Like there was just a conference room with like a conference table, you know, and then like 6 chairs around it. So we were like kind of pushed into that room for a second, and I'm standing there right next to Aretha Franklin. I never said goddamn words. She's just really big. And it wasn't just Aretha Franklin. It was Aretha Franklin and entourage. I was the one guy that was not a part of the entourage, but I was sitting in the room with him, and I'm like, Happy birthday, Aretha Franklin, born on this day in 1942. I believe the largest person Hollywood ever allowed to become famous, Aretha Franklin. Born on this day in 1942, born on this day in 1947. Oh, my God. Yeah, here's a big one. Who's bigger? Oh, chat room, here's your question. We just talked about Aretha Franklin. My question for you is, who's bigger? Not bigger physically. Like, I understand how that could be confusing because of what I just said about Aretha Franklin. Who's the bigger star? Who's got the bigger talent? Who's the more impressive person? I just told you Aretha Franklin. Now, y'all know she's really big. So if I'm putting somebody in that rarefied air, who could I be talking about? You're wondering. Born on this day in 1947, Elton John. Elton John! Woo! He's rarefied air. He's like in Magic Johnson Kobe territory. What do I mean by that? Look, you're talking to me, okay? You're talking to me. So if we're talking about NBA greatest of all time, it's Michael Jordan. I know that there's a conversation that puts LeBron up there, and that's fine. I understand that. So let's just say for default purposes, it's Jordan and LeBron, right? Okay. But then there's that like next level. You know what I mean? There's that next level with Magic and Kobe and people like that, you know? And even you can go back, Wilt, you know, Kareem. There's like that next level, which there is no shame in that next level. It means that you're one of like the 5 greatest people to ever play the game on that next level. That's where I put Elton John. And what do I mean by that? So what's the equivalent? Well, in like music, I think there's Frank Sinatra. I think there's Elvis Presley. I think there's Bob Dylan. And I think there's the Beatles and the Stones. Whoop. I think that's it. I don't think I can reasonably put a female artist in that group with those people. And if I were to put a female artist in that group with those people, it might be Aretha Franklin. It might be Madonna. And, let's check back in a couple of years, but it's probably Taylor Swift. But, that's the level. Sinatra, Elvis, Dylan, Beatles. And right under that, or Stones, too. I'm going to put the Stones up there, just longevity, right? Because that's the only reason LeBron is in the conversation with Michael is because of longevity stats. That's it. I mean, so we'll put the Stones in there as well. So what's the next level? So the next level underneath Sinatra and all that. So the next level is, I forgot about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's up there. Michael Jackson's up there, too. We forgot about that. So then the next level is... Aretha Franklin, Elton John, David Bowie, they're like greats, the Kobe's, if you will. So that's kind of where I put Elton John. Now, the question of who's bigger, Elton John or Aretha Franklin? Let's go to the chat rooms. People in the chat room had some thoughts on that. I want to absolutely... Peter's our music guy. He always has thoughts on these things. Peter says, Peter's our music guy, but we've got a chat room filled with music guys. Ross Rubio is absolutely our music guy. Rob Barr is absolutely our music guy. Peter is absolutely our music guy. Adam is our music critic guy. That's, I think that's fair to say. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Elton is great, but Aretha is the GOAT. Okay, so Peter goes Aretha over Elton. Barney's going Elton John. All right, there we go. That's it. Nobody else is. Here we go. GK. Let's see what we have here. What we know about Kobe should take him out of any great conversation. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I think what you're referring to is the rapey stuff, the Colorado hotel room. I gotcha. I understand, like, why you feel that way. I don't ever feel that way with sports. I'm sorry. With sports, separate the art from the artist, man. Nobody is ever going to convince me that Ty Cobb, Pete Rose, and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa aren't four of the greatest players in the history of baseball. But those guys are all fucking borderline criminals and, pieces of shit for various reasons. But you're Barry Bonds. You're not going to convince me that they don't deserve to be important in their sport. So, So I will never discount Kobe because I absolutely think that he raped that girl in the Colorado. I absolutely do. I think he raped that girl in Colorado. But, man, that kid could ball. That's all I'm saying. Hold it against me if you want. All right, let's move on. Let's see. Who else? Elton John. Happy birthday, Elton John. Oh, me personally? I think it has to come down. Here's how I'm going to do it, okay? Because I would be interested to see this. So the question being, who's bigger, Aretha Franklin or Elton John, right? It's going to come down to album sales. Here we go. This is what we're going to do. Because they both existed entirely. Come on, let's not kid ourselves. I know Elton is still alive, but he hasn't been relevant musically. He started doing Broadway plays. Their careers as pop stars that made their names, they both exclusively existed within the album sales era. So this is a good way for us to sort of see who is bigger, Aretha Franklin. Hold on. How many records did Aretha? There we go. All right. Hold on. There you go. 75 million. 75 million records for Aretha Franklin. Folks, I have to tell you without even looking it up, I think Elton John's at the 150 million. I think Elton John may have doubled Aretha Franklin in album sales. Well, let's check it out. This would be my prediction. All right, how many records did Elton John sell? All right. Aretha Franklin was 75 million. Ladies and gentlemen, Elton John has sold over 300 million records worldwide. 300. There is, in my way of looking at this, as far as who's more successful, who's bigger, as was the way I originally phrased it, it's not even close. Because as far as the people who make money off it, they would tell you that Elton John is far bigger than Aretha Franklin. All right, there you go. That was interesting. I didn't think we would. That's interesting to me. Probably not to you, but that's okay. All right, born on this day in 1947, Elton John. Born on this day in 1965, a really nice guy. I only met him a couple of times, but he was a really nice guy, always smiling, always fun. Former Mavericks coach, former Mavericks player, the great Avery Johnson. Avery, born on this day in 1965. Born on this day in 1965 as well. Oh, this one. Look, hey, to each their own. Happy birthday, Sarah Jessica Parker. Happy birthday. I got a buddy who back in the day was like super hot for her. Sarah Jessica, ain't nobody. I'm running around this is probably, how do we figure this out? It's probably in my Winona Ryder era. Maybe that was it when I was like really thinking Winona. No, this is probably still Demi Moore. Yeah, I was like still Demi Moore. So this is when my ideal beauty, when I was a teenager, this is when at this point in my life, I was like looking at Demi Moore, About Last Night, Demi Moore, St. Elmo's Fire, Demi Moore, that era. That's when I was like, yeah, I like her. So I had this buddy. He's like, nah, man, Sarah Jessica Parker. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you? You look at Sarah Jessica Parker next to Demi Moore in 1988 or whatever, 1989, I don't know. You look at these two next to each other and you're going, I'm going home with the girl with the big nose and the bony boobs. That's the one you pick. Here's the best example of how not hot Sarah Jessica Parker is. And I have to say that. She's not hot. You know why? Because everybody else talks about her like she is hot. I'll give her this. In the Steve Martin movie LA Story, which is a terrific movie. If you want to just, go back and find like a diamond that you forgot about, the Steve Martin movie LA Story is so good. He plays a guy who's like in his mid 40s, late 40s or something. That's about how old Steve Martin was back then. So plays a guy like around 50 and he's a weatherman in LA and he falls in love with like this hot chick, this hot like 22-year-old girl. And it's like an age inappropriate story and he's struggling with it. But Sarah Jessica Parker in that movie plays the hot 22-year-old. And I got to say, yeah, I get it. The body's pretty good in that movie. However, when you separate the body of Sarah Jessica Parker, okay, here's what you get. Have you ever seen Mars Attacks? Your Honor, I submit this piece of evidence. Sarah Jessica Parker's head on a Chihuahua body, and now you still think she's the hottest thing going? I don't think you do. There you go. Sarah Jessica Parker, born on this day, year of our Lord, 1965. Born on this day in 1967. Here's a real one. Here's a guy. This is a guy who I look at. And I think, that this is a good example of what I always say. Get your bag. Find out what your bag is. Don't go chasing the Joneses, right? I've got 10 million. I really want 500 million. Whatever. Figure out what money is going to make you happy, what lifestyle is going to make you happy, what profession is going to make you happy. And see if you can bring all three of those things together. And then, if you so choose, be as wacky as you want, because we all go around just the once. Be happy. And that's what our birthday boy, born on this day in 1967, has been living his life by the past 25 years. One of the great comics of the past 20 years, Doug Stanhope, ladies and gentlemen, the great Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope was, wasn't it Doug and Joe who did the Man Show, who replaced Jimmy Kimmel? And I think you remember Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla did the Man Show on Comedy Central, and then Jimmy got the Jimmy Kimmel Show. And so Comedy Central recast the Man Show with Joe Rogan and Doug Stanhope. And it was, in my opinion, it was better. I liked Kimmel and I liked Corolla together. They were funnier, but Rogan and Stanhope brought more of an edge, more of a danger to it, which I found infinitely more interesting. But that all fell apart. And Doug Stanhope, who was a popular touring comedian, got so soured on television, got so soured on Hollywood after that. He's like, fuck this. He had his bag. He's walking into comedy clubs around the country every single weekend and pulling in like 20 grand. Yeah, that's what comics at that level make. When you go to see a comic at the Improv, know that comic's making about 20 grand just for that weekend. And then that comic goes home and he hangs out with his family all week and does nothing. And then he gets back on a plane on Thursday and he goes and gets another 20 grand. It's a pretty decent life and income. Doug Stanhope, with the Comedy Central bullshit, he was chasing Hollywood. And it was just so off-putting to him that he went, fuck this, man. I mean, I am really happy making, I don't know, $500,000 a year. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Bisbee, Arizona, the middle of fucking nowhere, and I'm going to build a house, and I'm going to make a compound, and I'm going to live there with my buddies, and I'm going to go off on weekends. He is living the life that, and I try to make this distinction. A lot of us find ourselves living the life that other people designed for you. So few of us actually just live the life based on your own wants. That's a real blessing if you're able to do that. I've been able to do that in some small part. It comes with a very heavy cost. If I was Doug Stanhope, it would be better. If I was making 20 grand a weekend, that would be great. But Doug did it. We should all look at him as our North Star. If you're seeking that kind of life, a life of happiness, a life of contentment. Doug Stanhope, happy birthday, born on this day in 1967. He got his bag. He knows what he wants. He doesn't need $50 million. My God, he's going to retire with like $5 million in the bank when he finally gets off the road. He's got a house paid for in Bisbee, Arizona. You know what the cost of living is there? The man can do whatever he wants. He's living life. I love Doug. Do you guys remember, was it Bingo? Oh, yeah, well, it was Bingo. Bingo was his girlfriend. He used to, if you're an old Pugs and Kelly fan, you remember when Doug used to do our show all the time. We used to bring his girlfriend Bingo. And Bingo was wild, man. Bingo had a shaved head, like full-on 1990s Sinead O'Connor. Bingo had a shaved head, and she walked around in a magician's top hat, just cocked to the side. I don't know how that thing stayed up on the head because it was bald. I'm thinking tape or something was involved. But my point is this. Bingo was mentally ill. like not just kinda. Like in and out of hospitals and all of that. And Doug Stanhope loved her. I mean, the kind of thing that like most people... You'd be like, this crazy chick, I can't. No, man. That was, Kelly and I used to talk about that. We used to be like, Doug could get a lot. Doug could get anything. He's like, man, she's like, no, he loves her. I'm like, wow, good for him. He got his bag, got his woman. She's crazy. Not as crazy as Jim Florentine's girlfriend, Jade. Oh, wait a second. I shouldn't go there. I just realized that Jade had an awful end. Jade was Jim Florentine. Remember Jim Florentine? When he used to do it, Jade was his girlfriend. He used to bring her on the road with him, and she used to hang out with us in Dallas. Jade passed away. That's very sad. You know what? Jade was fun. I was going to tell some stories about her, but she passed away, so I'm not going to. See, you know what? Cowardly pissants with no care for other people would think, oh, she's dead. Now I can tell the stories. I operate the other way. I don't need. We all struggle in life. She was fun, though. She was fun. My friend Kevin, all right, one story from the great Jade of Jim Florentine. Remember Jim Florentine, Crank Yankers? Boom, boom, yay! He was so funny. Jade once, we were at a club and we were leaving the club and my friend Kevin was driving and Kevin had just brought a brand new BMW that day. It was brand new. And Jade, we were getting ready to leave and we're like at some club and we're in the parking lot and it's a gravel parking lot. And before we started to back out, Jade said she had to go to the bathroom because Kevin was talking about, Kevin's like, yeah, so, I just picked it up. Jade's like, I have to go to the bathroom. And he's like, okay. And so he lets her out. And Jim Florentine's girlfriend, jumps on the hood of the brand new BMW, pulls down her pants, and goes pee right there on the hood, right in front of all of us. That's Jade. Happy birthday, Doug Stanhope. Born on this day in 1967. Born on this day in 1988. A big shout out to Ryan Lewis. He is, of course, the DJ Jazzy Jeff of the Ryan Lewis and Macklemore pairing. Ryan Lewis, born on this day in 1988. Born on this day in 1999. Woo! How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet this is going to be the most wheels-off baller birthday of this young lady's life? This young lady is turning 26 years old today. She has just had a moment. She is at all of her dreams have just come true. Mikey Madison, star of Enora, this year's Academy Award-winning actress for Best Actress. Mikey Madison, born on this day in 1999. Boy, she's having a time, huh? You know her party's going to be fun. You know, she's going to, like, you know, she's, you know, I'll tell you something about her. So when I saw that it was her birthday, I was like, man, it is a good time to be her. It's her birthday. She is the hottest actress in Hollywood. Everybody is talking about her. I mean, she is now in league with the Scarlett Johanssons and, you know, the big, not proven box office, but because of the critical acclaim and because of the trophy, she is now up there. In other words, in layman's terms, she's fucking expensive. She wasn't expensive at all for Enora. She probably did Enora, seriously, no joke. She probably did Enora for about $100,000. Probably what she got. That was a small, although it's Sean Baker, so there was a bit more of a budget. Whatever. She didn't make much for Enora. Okay, not by Hollywood standards. She's going to now, the next thing we see, you know, she's going to be starring opposite Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, making $20 million. Good for her. So when I saw that it was her birthday, I went to her IMDb page because, or actually, I went to the Wikipedia page first. I actually haven't checked the IMDb page. That's what I wanted to check. But I went to the Wikipedia page because it has her filmography. And of course, she's only 26, so she doesn't have a whole lot of films. Enora is like her breakout, obviously. So what I look for in these situations, because she's super hot right now, she just won the Oscar, I look for listings of films that have not yet been released. They're in development. And usually you can tell if somebody is really hot by looking at their Wikipedia page when in a calendar year of like 2025, you know, that she's got like, or they've got like 5 movies in production. I went to Mikey Madison's page. She's the hottest actress in Hollywood. She's got nothing in production. Nothing in production. Nothing set to be released, at least not according to her Wikipedia page. Now, what does that tell me? That tells me that she has baller fucking representation. That her agents and they knew when they got her this role, somebody who handles her absolutely knew that this role could be a breakout, and that if it was the breakout, that she could win awards. And if she did win awards, it was best that she didn't have anything on her schedule so that she could take nothing but meetings with people who, instead of meeting, you know, some nobody girl, will now be taking a meeting with an Oscar-winning actress. It's about money. Her quote, that's what they're called, quotes, what they get. Her quote has gone up 1,000,000%. Smart. It's smart. She's going to sit and she's going to pick her next project and she's going to get paid handsomely. Happy birthday, Mikey Madison, born on this day in 1999, star of Enora. By the way, Enora, I got to say this about Enora. It has terrible, like when you click on Enora info and it tells you the story of a love story between the descriptions of Enora are fucking terrible. And it's why I didn't watch it for like a month. It was available to me for a month and I didn't watch it because I kept clicking on it. I'm like, this looks awful. Somebody needs to do better on the descriptions. I said to my kid over the weekend, I'm like, you want to watch Enora? It just won all the awards. And he's like, no, I don't want to see that. I go, why not? He goes, because I was reading it. It looks stupid. And then I click on the info and I'm like, this does look stupid. This is like the worst description for a fucking baller movie I've ever seen. So anyway, that's the problem. like one of them, one of the things describing in it said it's like Pretty Women. It's like no, it's like if Disney did Pretty Woman, or no, it makes Pretty Woman look like Disney. That's what it was. I'm like, what the fuck? Pretty Woman is Disney. And there was no edge to Pretty Woman. That's such a terrible way to describe. How I describe Honora is it's if Quentin Tarantino wrote and directed Pretty Woman. That's what Honora is. If Quentin Tarantino wrote and directed Pretty Woman, he would have called it Honora. That's what that is, okay? It's not. It makes Pretty Woman look like Disney because there is no fucking edge to Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman isn't an edgy movie. Pretty Woman pretty much is Disney friendly from the get-go. So stop it with that. All right. Let's do the deads. Here we go. People who died on this day. People who died. Ida B. Wells. Where'd she go? Heaven. Ida B. Wells. She's going to heaven. You guys don't know who maybe you don't know. Ida B. Wells is a American journalist, an activist, Underground Railroad. She is a god in the city of Chicago. She's like the Mother Teresa of the city of Chicago. Ida B. Wells, born in 1862, died in 1931, and took the express train to heaven. Dead on this day in 1992. How about this one? Nancy Walker. You guys know who Nancy Walker is? Everybody knows who Nancy Walker is. If you're Gen X, she was on TV. She was in every other stupid commercial. Here, look at her. Remember her? What was her name? Was it Madge? Hold on. What was her name? Rosie. It was Rosie, the bounty lady. But here, I'm going to go even deeper with you on Nancy Walker. Here she is right here doing bounty commercials. Nancy Walker did bounty commercials for like 20 years. I swear to God, she's probably still doing them into the 90s. I don't know. Wait a second. First of all, fucking paper towel commercials? Like there's commercials for paper towels? When's the last time you saw, do we still have commercials for paper towel? Maybe during the day, I guess. I go deep with Nancy Walker. I can go all the way back to Mrs. Morgenstern. That's right. Even before she was, or maybe even concurrently when she was Rosie, the smart ass waitress at the diner, she was Rhoda Morgenstern. Remember Rhoda, the TV show, the spinoff of Mary Tyler Moore? She was Rhoda's mom. She was Mrs. Morgenstern. She was very funny. Let's see. There she is. That's Rosie. Oh, look at that. Look at what we got here. I don't remember this commercial. Although, wait a second. Who's this in the background? This Flo? What are they doing? A crossover with Alice? That looks like Flo. This is Rosie and Rosie. That's Rosie, the bounty quicker picker upper lady, and famed NFL defensive tackle Rosie Greer. Look at that. Rosie and Rosie. Bounty, the quicker picker upper. She's an actress, but is she really an actress? Because she's like commercial. It's, she's not an actress. I want Nancy Walker in heaven, so there she goes. Nancy Walker goes to heaven. She dead on this day in 1992. All right, so there we have it. Hold on a second, guys. I'm all over the place with all these stupid windows that I got open up here. I don't need to. Let's see here. What else do we have? All right, Nancy Walker died. She's going to heaven. Ida B. Wells went to heaven. Dead on this day. Dead on this day in 2005. Paul Henning died in 2005. Paul Henning was an American screenwriter and producer. Paul Henning created some of the most insurgent television of the 1960s. He was a communist. All of his shows, all of Paul Henning's shows had real subtle and insurgent communist messaging in it. And we all love these shows and we all talk about them. Sometimes it was real obvious messaging, like the capitalist banker was always the bad guy who was always trying to get one over on the regular working man who, maybe simple in their ways, was certainly more logical and decent than the evil capitalist. Paul Henning created everything from Green Acres to Beverly Hillbillies. Paul Henning was a communist, believed in insurgently getting his message across. So there you go. Paul Henning. I like Paul Henning. He made the Beverly Hillbillies. I'm putting him in heaven. I don't give a shit about what he was trying to do. He didn't flip the country communist, and I don't think that he ever thought that, but he did write from that worldview. He wrote from the worldview that, Mr. Drysdale, he's a piece of shit, and old Jed Clampett is just a good man, a good hardworking son of the land, being taken advantage by the greedy American capitalist. Paul Henning, dead on this day in 2005. We're putting everybody in heaven. Look at that. We put everybody in heaven. Ida B. Wells, dead in 1931. Put her in heaven. Nancy Walker, Bounty, the quicker picker upper lady. We put her in heaven. Paul Henning, communist creator of Beverly Hillbillies, Green Acres, Petticoat Junction, all that stuff. We put him in heaven. Dead on this day in 2022, Taylor Hawkins. Remember this one? My God. Taylor Hawkins, of course, Foo Fighters drummer and all-around good dude. I'm putting him in heaven. I'm putting him in heaven. Why not? Clean slate. I put everybody in heaven today. Why not? Maybe it's because I'm in such a good mood. Because why? Well, we've got a big event tonight. That's right. I got to say it again. I got to do this every so often in between. Check it out. It's scrolling down below. Come join me. We'll be hosting trivia tonight at the Back 9 in Addison. That's at 4060 Beltline Road in Addison. Everybody who comes and sign up starts at 6 o'clock, comes up to play trivia with us. You will receive what I'm calling a month's supply, although I don't know how much you're going to ingest. It's a full box, full case of these things. This is an $80 value. Wait, how much are these things? Oh, you get that. Oh, okay, I see it. Come on by, everybody, just for saying thank you and for supporting this show and our desperate attempts at growth and all of that good stuff. Come on by 6 o'clock tonight, the Back 9 trivia. If you want to play, all right, Lane, you want to play and you're like, I don't know if I'm any good at it, come find me. Come find me when you come in. Or if you know you're good at trivia but you don't have a team, come find me. I'm putting together the Globetrotters of trivia. You'll see. We certainly aren't going to debut them here, but I'm scouting. I'm scouting for my Globetrotters of trivia team. And then we're going to flip this whole thing on its head. Then it's going to be, you guys can't beat us. You're all going to be going around like the nerds at work. You're like, hey, will you come to Back 9? This is like 6 months from now because we're going to make this fun. This is going to be a thing. Be going around to your nerds at work like, hey, you want to come and be on my trivia team because Pugs keeps running his mouth. We need to shut him up. We need to... Although, if I'm being honest, I used to. My claim to fame was always that I'd never lost a game of trivia. Never. I'm also, I have been told by numerous people that were they to ever get on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, that I was going to be their phone a friend because of my just vast, useless, stupid things that I know. I am very often somebody. Okay, so have you ever been playing Trivia Pursuit with people? Like maybe it's like Christmas or whatever, and it's, or whatever, a family gathering. You're playing Trivial Pursuit, and then one of the people playing gets up and goes to the bathroom. Yeah, they're calling me. Yeah, calling me. I've received phone calls and texts from people who are in heated games of Trivial Pursuits who have removed themselves from the game to go to the bathroom, and then they've utilized my vast trivia knowledge now. I used to host trivia contests in Chicago. I don't think I ever did trivia here. I attended a lot of trivia. We used to play trivia all the time at the pub and grub and stuff. I don't think I ever did a trivia event here. Here's the catch. I'm old now. I am old. And I got to be honest with you. I have blind spots in my trivia game that I never had when I was 30. I don't know Jay-Z from... don't talk to me about apps. Don't talk to me about young people slang. I don't know what cap means. My kid says cap all the time. And I keep being told what no cap means, but I keep forgetting again. I'm like, because it doesn't make any sense. It makes no fucking sense. There's no way for me to. So I have blind spots because I'm old. So I'm vulnerable. The old lion of trivia is vulnerable. I retired a couple of years ago, but in honor of the late, great George Foreman, I think I'm coming back. And what I need is a super team. So that's what I'll be scouting for. I'll be scouting for my Globetrotters of trivia. It's me and it's Schwartz. We already got Schwartz. All right, that's a good start. You'd be surprised at Schwartz's knowledge. Like you're thinking, oh, he's getting him for science and shit. No, I'm getting Schwartz for music. I'm getting Schwartz for music and entertainment and literature and art and all of the fucking shit that is stupid. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Princeton? I don't know, Yale? I think he went to Yale. Whatever it is, I always get it wrong and I think it bothers him and I don't care. Oh, whatever it is that's in that head of his. He's one. He's one of my members of the super team. But I think we're gonna need like 3 more because the way we used to play it was with teams of 5 because you want it an uneven number. Anyway, so come on out if you know anybody who's really good at trivia. I'm gonna be watching. I'll be looking. Let me fix the eagle and then we'll get into all the shit we're gonna talk about. It's 3 o'clock already. We haven't even started. We haven't even begun to get into our current event stuff. Watch and read. Who's that? Teen son of ex-Yankee star Brett Gardner did not die by asphyxia. That's a terrible story. Yeah, we haven't been talking about that. Okay. Sorry, just a little breaking news. All right, so look, guys, here's what I got to do, and I hope you understand. I'm going to be here all day. I got a quick thing that I got to do at 4:30, so we got to be off the air by 4:30. And then I got to get up to the back 9 in Addison for the 6 o'clock trivia thing. I need to take a quick break. Will you indulge me? Let me go take a quick break and we'll come back. I'll be back. Give me a minute. Just like give me a minute. I'm going to the bathroom. Fine. I'm going to the bathroom and I got to refill my soda. It's very important that I have something to drink. I'm trapped here. All right. So if you'll indulge me, I'll be right back. And please hold on. Please don't go anywhere. Where else you got to go? Yeah, you're not going to go anywhere. You're probably sitting at work or you're doing your thing. All right, I'll be right back. All right, there we go. I apologize. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate you. No, no, I was not. I was not dropping. I was not. What? First of all, I wouldn't lie about that. I think you guys know that. If I had to go take a poop, I'd tell you I was going to take a poop. I wasn't taking a poop. Okay, I had to do something else. I did pee, but I had to do something else. I had to refill my soda. And I had to run out to my car, which is parked in the back. I had to go and get the charger because I was running out. I got my phone charger with me today because I'm going to be out of the house an extraordinary amount of time because of our big event there at the back 9 tonight. And I needed to have my phone charger, and I realized that my phone was kind of dying. So you don't need this level of explanation. All right, let's recap with the chat room. Let's see what we're doing here. We got Al in there. Hi, Al. Jeff's the one who thinks I'm pooping. Peter's still in there. See, what else did I want to talk about? Was there anything else that I wanted to mention? What did I watch last night? Did I watch anything good last night? Oh yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about before we get into some of the headlines. I'm pacing myself because I know that two of the stories that we're going to talk about very quickly, they're going to get me going. They're going to get me going, but look, not in an evil way. Just they're going to get me going. So, hold on. Last night, I finally started watching the latest season of The Righteous Gemstones on Max. Righteous Gemstones has been back for about 2 weeks, I think. I know there's 3 episodes, but I think it's only been back for 2 weeks. I think maybe the first week there were 2 episodes because the first episode of the new season of The Righteous Gemstones, the first episode was non-canon, if you will. It was an episode that took place during the Civil War. You know, the Righteous Gemstones are a modern powerhouse Christian evangelical entertainment family. That's what the show's about. John Goodman, Danny McBride, Walton Goggins, more on that in a second. Just such an incredibly funny and well-done show, The Royal Gemstones. So again, the show is set in the modern times. Season 4, which is what I think we just started, season 4, episode 1 was titled Prelude, and it was all set in the Civil War. And I guess it's about the origin story of the Gemstone family. And none of the people who are in The Righteous Gemstones were in season 4, episode 1, because it starred or it featured who would be their like great-great-grandpa Jebediah Gemstone or whatever. And that character was played by Bradley Cooper. It was kind of awesome. It was, if you like the season 4, episode 1 of The Righteous Gemstones, I believe is a one-off pilot for a Righteous Gemstones spinoff, because this is the final season of The Righteous Gemstones. They're not making it anymore. And that's what I think episode 1 of season 4, Prelude, starring Bradley Cooper as this like con man from back in the Civil War time, because that's how the Gemstones started. They were these early con man. Anyway, it was so good, and I whipped through the first 3 episodes last night, and here's what I'm thinking, because now I'm out of episodes. I have to wait till Sunday, and now I'm stuck in the got to watch 1 episode and then wait a week and then watch another episode, then wait another. I don't do that. That's barbaric. That's not good. Excuse me. I was running, so I still haven't caught my breath because I'm old. When I ran to get the charger, I was running to the car. I gotta catch my breath. I hate being old. This sucks. So that's what I think. Season 4, episode 1, Prelude. I think that is a pilot episode to HBO of what could be a series next season, starring Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper doing an HBO series as the star. That's pretty cool. You know, he must want to stay in one spot for like a couple of years. Probably done with location shoots and traveling for movies and all that. That's what they say the nice thing about doing a television show. And now we're in an era where there is absolutely zero shame in a top flight A-list actor doing TV. Because guess what? That's where you get seen these days. Ain't nobody going to the movie theaters. If your brand was exclusively appreciated or seen in movie theaters, yeah, you wouldn't be much. Goddamn thing did it again. So I think maybe Bradley Cooper is going to do an HBO series. And I think it'll probably be, this, whatever that was. And by the way, I just have to say, the one standalone episode, again, season 4, episode 1, prelude of the Righteous Gemstones. Make that series. I want to see that series. It was so good. It was, at first I was angry. I'm like, oh, wait. So this isn't even going to continue the story. Let's go, people. What are you doing? But then within 10 minutes, I was like, oh boy. All right, I'm in this. So there you go. I wanted to let people know that it's a pretty interesting thing. If you watch The Righteous Gemstones and you haven't started watching yet, season 4, episode 1 is pretty great. All right. And I believe it's going to be a series if they can come to an agreement financially with Bradley Cooper, because he's going to be a little expensive, but All right, let's get started. Let's do this. So there was a huge oops, right? We don't do politics on this show. I don't even want to get into the... Here's what I will say with it without saying any names. It's a dumb mistake, okay? Just, at the very least, just admit it's a fucking dumb mistake. Our defense team accidentally, while using what do they call it? Crypto special texting. They have these apps that drug dealers use, drugs and arm dealers use. And we've recently just found out, apparently, members of the Pentagon, even though they're not supposed to use it, there are these apps for people that want to text, but they want what they're texting to be extra super secret. Signal is what this particular app is called. I think there's a couple other ones, but it's what pot dealers use. It's a pot dealer app, but okay, whatever. And it's also, I guess, not supposed to be used. The Department of Justice has long-standing orders that, no, this is not secured. We believe that it is incredibly vulnerable to outside and foreign interests. So no, do not, just because it's supposed to be, extra protected, please, you're not supposed to do it. And I guess this has been the thing for as long as it's existed. Well, it turns out that our guys, the top guys, all the top guys, except for our, president and co-president, all the top guys were involved in this. And they started a group chat about the Houthi campaign, what we're going to do with the Houthis. They started a group chat, and somebody was sloppy. Just fucking admit that somebody was fucking sloppy. I'm not asking for anything else. I'm not here to talk about, it's a grave national security. Fuck that. Let the fucking Democrats, liberals, or whatever, there's other people going to have the fight. I don't give a shit. What drives me absolutely nuts is seeing some of you act like it's not a fuck up. What? No, it's just the way they communicate, mate. Just admit it's a fuck up. Just admit somebody fucked up. Just admit somebody. Just admit that. I'm seeing these people. I'm seeing the actual people involved in it acting like it's a big oops. That's all. Just admit it's a fuck up. It's incredibly embarrassing. Could you imagine? No, you can't. You can't. Because it seems like a whole lot of you are incapable of imagining anything from the other side. But could you imagine if something even remotely similar had happened to the Democrats, how the Republicans would have lost their shit, Hillary's emails. Fuck. I'm not even saying that's the response that the rest of the right-thinking world or country needs to be taking. I'm just pointing out. Fucking just go, yeah, we fucked up, man. You know what? Own goal. Let's fucking move forward. Let's go. Because you know what we know about us? We've learned this really directly the past 10 years. We get over shit. We forget about shit. If the thing that keeps these things going is Pete fucking Hegseth saying the shit he said on the runway to reporters. That didn't happen. Those weren't war plans. He said that simultaneously as the White House was telling the media that they were authentic conversations. Don't do that, guys. I'm doubling down with the light. Don't just fucking stand firm. They can't fucking prove it. Just stand firm. Stop it. Just go, yeah, we fucked up. Because somebody needs to be fired. And I promise you, it's not Waltz. You know, they're trying to put this on Mike Waltz, the national security advisor, because he apparently set up the group chat. That's not who's going to get fired, because that's not who made the mistake. Who made the mistake is some fucking aide that works in his office who is 24 years old, who knows the computery stuff. That's the guy who fucked up. And they're going to offer us that guy. That guy's going to get offered up. And unfortunately, I think the response from the fucking left is going to be not good enough. We need Hegseth. They didn't fucking have anything to do with setting this up. These are middle-aged men. They just do what they do it because it's easy. They know, by the way, they also know it's wrong. They know they're not supposed to be doing this on Signal, but whatever. What the fuck? I got this thing on my phone. My assistant set it up. I'm going to hit boop, and now I'm talking. That's the extent of what your J.D. Vances, your Marco Rubios, your Pete Hegseth, that's the extent of their involvement in it, other than, oh, I got to do this now. Beep. But they all have people. They all have aides who set that shit up. What is going on with my eagle? What is going on with my eagle? Fuck. I'm ranting. All right, we'll try it again. No, do you see what I'm saying? We can all get past it. There will be the people who want to use this as another example of how inept, incompetent, and unqualified for these jobs these people are. Whatever, it's a war. People on the left are going to say, and people on the right are going to say, and it's never going to stop. Us, the people in the middle, the 70% normal people, right? Don't get involved in that noise. This could have been a security breach. The level of could have. It could have. But it wasn't. Jonah Alexander, whatever his name is, what is his name? Jeffrey Steinberg, what, I don't know what the guy's name is, from The Atlantic. The guy who got inadvertently invited to join this group chat with a whole bunch, with the vice president and the secretary of state and the secretary of defense, all these people. So that's the story, if you don't know. The editor of The Atlantic got an invite to join a Signal chat wherein he realized that he was watching all of these people discuss what would be a couple hours later, the bombings of Houthi rebels. And you know, the pearl clutches are out. This could have been such a security. Yeah, it could have, but it wasn't. And, you know, I'm of the mind these days to just go, fuck. All right, move on to the next problem. Just move on. Stop it. Didn't happen. All right, I know it could have, but you're just going to sit there and fucking pearl clutch and make this world even less tolerable with your bullshit because of what could have happened but did not happen. I understand. We must make it not be a thing in the future. All right, we'll do that. I promise this will never happen again. These fuckers are never going to use Signal. All right? This problem has been solved. Now, I am of the belief that with this crew, it is a game of whack-a-mole. So the next one will pop up. Let's move aside. They're not using Signal anymore. Trust me, these idiots aren't going to make this same mistake twice. So just put down the knives. Everybody calm the fuck down. The world didn't blow up. Was it a fuck up? In my personal opinion, it was massively fucked up. It was like a huge, humiliating fuck up where it's like, the one person you didn't want, like if you had accidentally like, oh, my 17-year-old daughter's in here by accident. I'm sorry, sweetie. We accidentally invited you. That's one thing. They accidentally invited the editor of The Atlantic, which is like in their eyes, the enemy. So, I mean, it's funny. And yeah, maybe I'm a bit fatalistic. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what this could lead to. It was funny. But what's not funny is these sons of bitches who are looking at me, a proud member of the 70% of us are normal. They're looking me in the eye and they're acting like I'm nuts. That this wasn't a fuck up. You fucked up, dude. You fucked up. I can only imagine if this was like an episode of Veep. Seriously, there are so many things happening with this administration that I'm like, this is fucking right out of Veep. I don't know if you guys ever saw Veep. Great show. HBO show, Max show. But okay. All right. So we move on. So let's just move on, right? I fully anticipate the next little, swing of the whack-a-mole mallet to be in the next few days. Hoping I'm wrong. That'd be great. If they can right this ship and get everything going, that's great. This is a fuck up. Just admit it's a fuck up and move on. We'll lose interest because nothing happened. And all those people who are pearl clutching about how this could have been a huge national defense fight. Fuck you. It wasn't. Okay? The Houthis didn't find out. They bombed them. I know what else is happening that we're not aware of yet because of the Atlantic. I know. There's all kinds of stupid shit. I'm sure of it. That's why I say it's a whack-a-mole game with this crew. But stop it. Watching the crazy 15 on the left and the crazy 15 on the right just fucking go head to head on this, when all I want is just them to admit that, yeah, it was a fuck up. And I would say, let's move on. Let's move on. The fuck up. It was a big oops. It's stupid. It's stupid. It speaks to me, if I'm being honest, it speaks to, them not being qualified for this, them not knowing what they're doing. But who cares? Who cares? You learn on the job, whatever. What's the worst that could happen? I mean, the end of the world, but fuck it. I've had a good run. I've enjoyed my time in America. 55 years old, you kidding me? Grew up in 69, grew up in the 70s. Dude, I was here and I was an American citizen in the 1980s when MTV went on. I was like 10 or 11 or whatever the fuck I was. It was amazing. It was a great time to be a human being. I got no complaints. I don't have any complaints now. I really don't. This is what I keep going back to. I make fucking piss all for money. I am not what anybody would describe as a financial or career success. I'm just some idiot. I'm fucking happy. I like where I live. I like the people. I like this country. I like, high school football and going to malls, and I like stuff. So I get a little confused when, we're all led to believe that this place is a goddamn shithole and, it's the eagle. How can I not love America? I've got an eagle behind me the whole time. Thank you, Leslie. Leslie C. Jeffrey Goldberg. Appreciate you. Oh, I got to get rid of that. Be right back. It's still there. One day, Jamie, would you get rid of that? Hey, Jamie, why don't you put up the, here, Jamie, do me a favor. Put up how people can tip the show and support us and keep us going, especially if they can't make it out to the back nine. Thank you, Jamie. Jamie, of course, my pretend producer. Tip the show, support the show. If if you can't make it out tonight. Boy, that's pressure. Oh, that feels fucking gross. Like saying that. But if you can, do it. All right, appreciate you. All right, let's move on to the next subject. What's the next thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, here you go. This is a big one. You guys following what happened with 23andMe? Remember 23andMe, the DNA people? This is a crazy story, man. And I've heard people talk about this for years. Like, this was always the concern, but it was shouted down because the service offered by 23andMe was so intriguing. 23andMe promised to show you everything about, it's the DNA breakdown of who you are and everything that, your family has been, where they come from, who else you're related to, all of these crazy mysteries. How fascinating. From the very beginning, I remember thinking that is brilliant. Never did it. Never did it because at the same time, I was hearing all of these people who were saying, don't do that. You're giving them ownership of your entire history, your medical history, your family genealogy, your family medical history. You are paying them to give them all of that stuff. And although, in the context of them using it to, trace your history, that's all well and good. But what happens if this company goes out of business? One of the greatest assets that they will have is their library of everybody's personal information, and not just the kind of personal information AT&T gets. We're talking about medical history. We're talking about all kind. I mean, do you think there'll be any industries interesting in acquiring all of that information about you? So there's a big scare now because 23andMe is filed for bankruptcy. And there is a mad dash by everyone who has ever been on 23andMe to get on the website and try and delete your entire file. So if you haven't done that yet, you should probably do it. Here, this comes from the Attorney General of the state of California. Okay, so here you go. Attorney General Rob Bonta. Attorney General Bonta, this is just an example of how serious it is. The Attorney General of California issued this statement to all citizens of California. California Attorney General Rob Bonta issued a consumer alert to consumers of 23andMe, a genetic testing and information company. The California-based company has publicly reported that it is in financial distress and stated in securities filing that there is substantial doubt about its ability to continue as a going concern. Due to the trove of sensitive computer data 23andMe has amassed, Attorney General Bonta of California reminds all Californians of their right to direct the deletion of their genetic data under the general information. Apparently there's a law in California. And by the way, I know at the time this problem was like, oh, goddamn liberals and their stupid law. But no, apparently there is a law that these goddamn liberals in California came up with that allows them to do this no matter what, that they cannot. So well, that's good. So he's just the Attorney General of California is reminding all Californians that it is their right by state law to be able to demand proof of your deletion of information from their websites. Goes on to say California has a robust privacy laws that allow consumers to take control and request that a company delete their genetic data. Given that 23andMe's reported financial distress, I remind Californians to consider invoking their rights and directing 23andMe to delete their data and destroy any samples of genetic. They got genetic samples of you fuckers, man. They got you. This isn't like well, Google's got your search history. I don't fucking care about my search history. What? Look, if the fact that I was interested in, Bo Derek's filmography at 2:30 in the morning on a Saturday 5 years ago, if that information is of any kind of commercial importance to someone, I say go for it. I say good for you. I applaud that kind of capitalism. That ain't 23andMe. 23andMe has your tissue and stuff. They start building clones. They're going to sell their shit to a clone factory. And suddenly there's going to be like 15 of you walking around in 20 years. You'd be like, why do so many people look like me? I don't know if that's even possible, but you see, that's what could happen. To delete genetic data from 23andMe, consumers can delete their account and personal information by taking the following steps. Log into your 23andMe account on the website. Go to settings. Scroll to a section labeled 23andMe data at the bottom of the page. Click view. Like, you know what? This is like fucking release. We all know how to do that. Okay, there you go. 23andMe. I always thought it was really tempting and really interesting, but I also always listened to my smart friends who were like, don't be fucking stupid. Don't be fucking stupid. You know who is really at risk of being victimized by 23andMe? And that's African Americans. African Americans were huge in 23andMe because, unlike us with our European families who came over on boats with tickets and all that kind of stuff, most African Americans have no idea where they're from, where in Africa they're from. They were slaves. They were brought here against their will. They were stripped of their names and any knowledge of it. So African Americans were huge with 23andMe, and 23andMe marketed heavily to that consumer base. So, I mean, they're really at risk. I mean, everybody who is, but I'm just saying this. All right, we're going to move on. What else do we have? Okay. So I want to talk about this. This is sad to me. And we've got to talk about it because it's very, it's complicated. And Cain Velasquez, Cain Velasquez, I think, is the first guest ever on Rear Naked Radio. Rear Naked Radio was my MMA show back in the days. I think Cain was the first guest that I ever had on. Cain would go on to be, in my opinion, the second greatest heavyweight in the history of the UFC. Probably the fourth greatest heavyweight of all time in mixed martial arts. Cain Velasquez was just, he was an absolute, boy, oh boy. Prime Cain Velasquez in that cage was scary. Anyway, point is this. Cain Velasquez retired, ended his career in the UFC, went and had a family. He was enjoying the life of a UFC Hall of Famer and a UFC former champion and all that, which is a nice life. You know, if you get to retire as a Cain Velasquez, an Anderson Silva, somebody like that, you get to retire like that. It's a nice life. I'm not saying it's, Rolling Stone. You're not a member of the Rolling Stones, but it's nice. It's millions and millions of dollars. It's comfortable. You don't really have to do anything the rest of your life. If you live reasonable, you can have an awesome life and do whatever you want. So that's kind of what he was enjoying. He's got a wife and he's got kids. And a couple of years ago, his son was molested at a daycare center. Cain Velasquez, retired UFC Hall of Famer. Somebody was so stupid that they molested a UFC Hall of Famer's son. That happened. It happened at a daycare where Cain Velasquez's wife was dropping off their youngest every day, and it happened multiple times. It wasn't just once. It was going on and on and on and on. Cain Velasquez found out about it. Found out about it because the authorities found out. It became like a big police thing. And like I said, you probably don't want to molest Cain Velasquez. You don't want to molest any kids. Rule of thumb. I think we can all agree on that. And if we can't, get out of the chat room. I don't want you listening. Point is this. He lost his shit. Cain Velasquez lost his shit upon being told by police that his child had been molested over and over again. And he is probably not the most, I'm just saying this. I've seen Cain Velasquez be able to channel a rage and a fury in an MMA match that is frightening. He is, these fighters get themselves into a place. And Cain had been retired for a while, and I think that Cain went to that place upon hearing that his son was molested. Cain found the guy that had molested his son, and a car chase began, and he chased him for 11 miles, I think, and the car chase finally ended because Cain Velasquez started firing a pistol outside the window of his car at the guy who had molested his child, striking the guy who had molested his child, striking somebody else that was in the car, and so there you go. So Cain Velasquez was arrested for that very serious crime. But again, I've spent a good amount of time making sure that you have context on what's going on here. He's not just some thug. His son was serially molested over a period of time at a daycare, and he lost his shit. So obviously there's a lot of sympathy for him, right? We all thought there's got to, come on, let's put this in front of a jury. Let's get him. He's got money. He's going to be able to get a good attorney. Let's get the story in front of a jury, and let's see, we get some, drop some charge, maybe make it a little less, convict him of attempted manslaughter, no time in jail, that kind of thing. That's what I think reasonable people were thinking. Well, that's unfortunate. Cain Velasquez yesterday was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Cain Velasquez, former UFC heavyweight champion and Hall of Famer, will be spending 5 years in prison. That's actually not true. He's getting credit for time served. He spent the first year in prison because they didn't give him bail. They didn't give him bail because they went in front of the judge when he was first arrested and said, he's a UFC fighter and the public he's obviously out of his mind and the public is at risk. So Cain already spent a fucking year in jail because his son was molested. So he already spent a year in jail. So he's going to get that taken off the sentence and all that. So we'll see what it is. Here's what Cain Velasquez had to say after being convicted and being sent to jail for 5 years. Cain says, speaking recently on the podcast of former teammate Kyle Kingsbury, Velasquez expressed remorse for his actions and accepted whatever punishment comes his way. Velasquez also said that he's forgiven Golarte's family. That's the people who molested his kid. Velasquez expressed remorse for his actions and accepted whatever punishment came his way. He also said that he had forgiven the Golarte family for what happened. Golarte's mother ran the daycare where the molestation happened. Here's what Cain had to say. Cain Velasquez, what I did was not correct. I understand that. I paid and I'll pay whatever else as far as what I have to do to pay all that back. I don't think I can pay that back, but I can always learn from, I don't think I can pay all of it back, but I think that I can learn from my mistakes and help others. It's just information that you never know anybody. Trust your kids. Have the openness to communicate with your kids about everything. So what he's basically saying is that, if your kid says something, make sure that he then goes on to say, but the way that I handled things was not the way to do it. We cannot take the law into our own hands. All right, there's Cain Velasquez. Still really, it's a shitty story. It's a shitty story because I fully believe that the prosecution there in Sacramento was looking for a win and probably had no, I'm sure they found out who he was and they realized that he was somebody in the MMA world, but I don't think that was something that the prosecutors recognized as anything more than an excuse for them to go extra hard and show what a violent individual he is, right? I mean, I'm not saying that he should have received special treatment, but I think that if maybe the prosecutors had understood the world of MMA instead of going, Your Honor, we can't offer bail because he's obviously a violent criminal. He was in the UFC. Maybe if they understood the UFC a little bit more, he might have gotten bail and wouldn't have spent an entire year in jail for going after a guy that molested his kid. Oh, incidentally, the guy that molested his kid, he's still on trial. That's still working its way through the courts. He's being accused of molesting like 15 kids, of which Cain Velasquez's son was one. It's a terrible, terrible story. All right. Let's keep going. That's Cain Velasquez. He's going to do 5 years in prison. What else do we have here? Okay. Do I want to do this? It's so funny. It's so from my seat here in the middle, in the 70%, it's like, here's a story that I want to comment on just from a strategic, here's what I think they're doing here. But it's hard to do that because people will be like, oh, you're just being political, you're just a liberal, or you're just MAGA. I don't want to do that. But Governor Hot Wheels is trending, which is just for me tremendous branding. if you are the opposite, Governor Hot Wheels is trending. Governor Hot Wheels is a reference to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who is in a wheelchair. Important note, he's in a wheelchair. So Jasmine Crockett, who I don't know anything about other than she's got funky fingernails. She's got these long, she was an extra in Wicked. She's got crazy long fingernails. She's a black girl. She's got all of the black girl fashion stuff that me as a middle-aged white man goes, I don't get it, but okay. Anyway, she's got all that going. She's sassy. Is she from here? She from Texas? She's from Houston or something. I don't know, whatever. She's sassy. She's kind of hot. Yeah, I said it. She's kind of hot. This Jasmine Crockett. I never heard of her until a couple of weeks ago, but now she's running her mouth everywhere, waving her nails around, and I'm going, I don't know, would you? Probably. I mean, she's no who's our super hot bikini model chick. Oh, Christy Nome. That's it. Christy Nome. She's not Christy Nome, but this Jasmine Crockett. So here's what's going on. I am neither a Republican or a Democrat. I hate the whole partisan thing. I hate these people. I understand the need for two parties. That's what works here in this country. We don't want 15 parties. But as it's been for the last 10 years or so, I've been a man without a party of any kind. I want nothing to do with either of the people that seem to be running both sides of the political aisle these days. But I am looking for a good fight. I am looking for, look, I told you earlier, I don't give a fuck. Let's burn it all down. Let's let the bombs drop from the sky. I'm 55 years old. I've had a great life. I'm pretty happy. If this is it, if I am blessed to be one of us that gets to live for the final episode of America, the series, then, great. I'll be in the final episode. I love that. So I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about any of this, but here's what I want. I want to see a fight. I want to start seeing a fight. You know how I feel about the Democrat. They're all like just feckless cowards who would rather lose and then stand there in defeat and go, but I lost honorably. That's their whole thing. They're like, don't really want to win. But I want to lose. I want to lose, and I want to lose with honor, and I want people to come up to me and go, you lost, but we love you. And that's like fucking what it's all been. And when it's not that, it's just eye roll bullshit. It's like they say shit and you go, oh God, the fuck are they talking? Defund the police. The fuck are these people, right? It's that nonsense. But one of the things they've never done is be able to fight Trump the way Trump has taught the Republican Party to fight. Trump's awesome, man. Trump's a big old thug, man. Trump was a joke until the first debate when he showed up like a fucking hooligan at that big debate. And he went, fuck you, Jeb Bush, you fucking pussy. Fuck, look at little Marco over here. Everybody. He killed the room. He Rodney Dangerfield that room. And from that moment on, a huge swath of America went, that's my guy. That's him. He didn't give a fuck. And that was so refreshing. And what was just so perfect about it was that nobody was prepared to react because none of these people are real. These people are all, when you see them, when you saw Jeb getting fucking steamrolled by Rodney Dangerfield at the debate, he didn't know how to react because he has no natural instincts because he's a fucking political animal. They all are. So what we've seen here from and I call them the opposition party because that's how I look at it. We got a party in power, and then any party in power has to be held to account by an opposition party that is relevant, and the Democrats are not relevant. Not at all. They're cute with their little rallies and they're crying. Fucking AOC and Bernie Sanders. Really? You've learned fucking nothing. You're going back to that well. You fucking... Anyway, what I do appreciate about Jasmine Crockett calling Governor Abbott of Texas Governor Hot Wheels. What I love about that is something that those feckless cowards who don't fight properly would have never, ever said. Jasmine Crockett, a liberal black female Democrat, made fun of somebody who's handicapped and had no problems with it. She's like, yeah, fucking Governor Hot Wheels over there. That got my attention. Oh, yeah, that got my attention because that's the shit we need. Because one of the things that makes me hate almost everybody on that side is that they would have been the first people after somebody referred to a guy in a wheelchair as somebody Hot Wheels. They would have been the first people to go, hey, he's a handicapped person and he is capable, right? That's what they were fucking doing. That's the shit that we roll our eyes to. Guess what? There ain't a handicapped person in the world that would have been like, oh, thank you, liberals. Thank you so much for coming to my defense. You do that because you must in the moment appear to be morally superior. That's why they do it. I want to right now be the person in this moment that you all see saying the nice thing. Fuck you. It was funny. Governor Hot Wheels was funny. And and it's mean. And that's what the fucking Democrats need to do if they actually want to be a relevant party of the opposition, because right now they're not. They're running around the country with AOC and Bernie Sanders. Do you understand what you're suggesting? Bernie Sanders going to die. Like 6 weeks in, Bernie Sanders is 100 fucking years old. So you're presenting as an option to the American people, AO motherfucking C? And you think you're going to win. You think you're going to win the Electoral College with that. Governor Hot Wheels is funny. And I give a lot of credit to that chick. She's a comer. I'm going to watch her with her fingernails. They got to get meaner. That's why I've been saying, man, what the Democrats need to do, they need to lean more on Fetterman, because Fetterman knows how to play the game. Fetterman's going to run for president. Oh, yeah. We're going to have President Grimace. He's going to be in the White House lumbering around. He's going to be like knocking into shit. Somebody catch that 18th century Ming vase. Governor Grimace just knocked off the mental. No, but they need people who can, they need people who don't give a fuck. They need people who have good intentions, who aren't afraid to fight the way people fight in bar rooms. Because that's how Trump and all the Republicans have shifted. They didn't used to be this way, but remember I told you back to the first debate, Trump taught them how to win, how to connect with regular people. And, calling Abbott Governor Hot Wheels is fucking great. And it's a good start, and let's go. Yeah, Fetterman, but here's what Fetterman's doing, because Fetterman knows that he's already got that part of it. Like, people know that Fetterman's kind of like a working class, like regular guy. So what Fetterman has been trying to do, which is very interesting, if you watch, Fetterman has been trying to make himself palatable to MAGA. And he kind of has a little bit. I've seen some of my MAGA friends saying nice things about Fetterman. And I'm like, he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. The other guy that I like, that I think that they need to fucking roll out, don't give me AOC and Bernie Sanders. I'm sure they're nice people. I'm sure they are. But Bernie Sanders is long past his expiration date. You cannot be kidding me with this shit. They're going to run as a team. No, they're not. But what they are doing is they are building up the profile of AOC. And I am sorry, but she is nowhere near ready for any kind of major. She's only recently gotten on committees of any relevance. She's only recently, within the last year, been, been talking. When you're a young, powerless congressperson, you don't get many good assignments, and you're kind of in the background. And that's why you have zero power. She is starting to amass power, AOC. And certainly she's got the social media power. I'm talking about institutional power when I say that, influence within the chamber. She hasn't had that. She's starting to get that because of what Bernie Sanders is doing, taking her around. But that is just not going to do it, man. That is just not going to do it. I'm sorry to say it. The Democrats need a middle-aged white man. A middle-aged white man, and not fucking Tim Walz. I'll tell you something, pal. Oh, sit down, Tim. You seem like a really nice guy. Just sit down, man. You embarrassed yourself. That cannot be the image of the Democrats. Okay, the Democrat male cannot be Tim Walz. They made him into something. Oh, they made him into Jim fucking Gaffigan. Nobody wants to be walking around Jim Gaffigan, okay? You don't. I'll tell you the motherfucker who I like. And I'm not saying for president, but I'm saying if you're going to put somebody out there making speeches and put them on talk shows and TV shows and get them on, Face the Nation and all this stuff as the voice, the attitude of a Democratic Party that could win, that could beat MAGA, that could steal all of their people, that's fucking Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel was Trump long before there was Trump, and he was deeply hidden inside the Democratic Party. Rahm Emanuel famously was sanctioned or censured or whatever by Congress. When in the congressional locker room, he beat up some other congressman. He shoved him up against the wall and threw him in the showers. The dude had his clothes on. Rahm was in a towel. He threw the dude in the shower in his suit and then put the shower on him and started screaming at him. Rahm Emanuel is the asshole the Democrats need. Rahm Emanuel and Trump face to face is fucking fireworks, man. And by the way, he's a genius. Rahm Emanuel's brilliant, like super smart, little Jewish guy from the streets of Chicago. He is a fucking hard ass, and he's who the Democrats should be looking at. And I'm not saying for president, but I'm saying as the carrier of an opposition message that is maybe going to be something more than, did you see Elon Musk playing with forks? Did you see? He's playing with forks. We're going to talk about that next. All right, did you see Elon Musk playing with forks? What the fuck? Again, nothing to do with what he does. He's the Da Vinci of our time. I want him to take us to Mars. He should not be doing the things that he's doing. He should not be in the White House. He should not have any influence over things that affect the everyday life of normal people because he is absolutely not normal and cannot possibly relate. So, there, I've said my part. But above and beyond that, we know he's a little bit of a retard, right? I mean, we've on the spectrum or whatever you call that if you want to be nice about it. No, he's severe. He's severe in it. And I think that it has manifested its affliction upon him in forms of genius, right? That's a good thing. A lot of times people think, well, idiot savants are a great example of that. Idiot savants. Really fucking good at certain things, but, can't do anything else. I think that's who Elon is. And, we've dressed him up and we've put him out there on stage now and we're letting him run around because he's super rich and he's just doing fucking weird shit. Shit that you would smack your kid for doing. So here's Elon Musk. I do want to look at this. This is funny. Come on. This is, yeah. Come on, you guys. Play with spoons. All right, so let me try and figure out what he's doing. Hold on. Here we go. All right, this is the first one. Oh, we got a whole bunch of them here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's try it this way. So we got a whole bunch of different pictures of Elon playing with his fucking retard spoons. Okay, here we go. Why was Elon Musk playing with forks? I don't care. I don't care why. I care that he was. I don't care why. Well, no, what he was doing. No, I care that he was. If your kid was doing it, would you care why you're doing it? Would you just be like, fucking stop that? Act like a human. Act like a grown-up. Act like someone who knows that they just fired 50,000 people, okay? You fucking weirdo. Here we go. All right. Okay, so here he is. He's at the White House. Or not, I guess this is Mar-a-Lago, but let's be honest. That's the White House. That is basically the White House now, Mar-a-Lago. Certainly is the White House, Florida, or the White House East or something. All right, so here's the first one. I like this one. Let's see if we can make this. All right, so here he is. He's sitting there. This is Mar-a-Lago, some big state dinner. By the way, right next to him, is Trump. Just out of the picture frame is Trump. Who's the chick? I don't know who this chick is that he's with, but she's wearing a terrible dress. I mean, she's not. Look, if I'm the richest man in the world, I got somebody sitting there. You know what I mean? I got somebody that's going to be like, bam, I'm the guy that's got this. What is she? Some Amish chick? What is he dating here? I don't know what this is. He's sitting right next to the president. He is surrounded. See the fucking Secret Service dude right there? He is sitting right next to the president. And look at what he's doing. He's playing with fucking forks like a 5-year-old. And look at the chick's got to act like it's totally okay, like it's totally normal. And the Secret Service guy, he's rolling his eyes. He's like, what the fuck is happening in this country? There's the president right there, ladies and gentlemen. He's right there next to the president of the United States, acting like an undignified child. This is absurd. Again, this goes back to the we are an idiocracy. How are we lowering ourselves? Well, I'll tell you, because a whole lot of you are like, that's not a big deal. I'll see what you're worried about. Because you say that about everything. You said that about the last 500 fucking things. And now we're down here. We used to be up here, but now you're down here. Because it's okay to play with fucking your food and forks at a restaurant with the president. Let's keep it going. Oh, is that it? All right, that's okay, because we got more. Yes, we do. All right, that's one video of him there. Let's see, where's the other video of him playing with his... God, just why do you have to be so weird? This better pay off with Mars. This better pay off with... This better all be leading to something. I swear to fucking God. All right, here we go. Now he's showing other people. Now he's got Carolyn Levitt. Hold on, I need a drink. Now he's got Carolyn Levitt. Whoo! Am I a fan? Whoo! Aesthetically. And, I usually watch her with the sound down. I don't give a shit. There's always just people asking stupid questions. It means nothing. That's all. That's the propaganda. But I do like to see her. And, good looking woman. All right, so here we are. Now we got Elon. He's got the White House spokesperson, the press secretary, Carolyn Levitt. Now he's got her involved. He's got to act.
Elon, what the hell are you doing?
All right, so that's okay. This is that video. This is somebody else who's there. Okay, lest you think this is totally okay and these kinds of things happen all the time. This is somebody else who exists in the rarefied air of these people, filming it and commenting on how fucking absurd this behavior is, okay? And that's the other thing. Just like the goddamn inviting the editor of The Atlantic into the national security group chat, fucking just admit it's weird. Oh! All right, here we go. Now listen to the commentary from this guy.
Elon, what the hell are you doing?
Carolyn Levitt is bailing. Carolyn, the White House, she's like, yeah, this is fucking weird. Okay, I just don't want them to hate me.
Elon, what the hell are you doing?
It's like, what the fuck is happening here? What is this? Did you see her look at the Secret Service? Like, what the fuck? This is weird, man. It's all weird. And if you could all just admit that it's weird, that's fine. But like a year ago, when somebody was like campaigning against this whole crew and they went, they're just fucking weird. You all went, no, we're not. We're totally not weird. You're fucking weird. A lot of you is fucking weird, man. A lot of you are weird. All right. Again, I want to go back. I want to watch Carolyn Levitt. You know why? Because she's not weird. She's a fucking professional. And she is slick and she is going places. And we're probably going to be watching the Carolyn Levitt show on Fox News starting in a couple of years for the next 20 years, right? She's the new Megyn Kelly, whatever. She ain't weird. She knows what she's fucking doing. I love her reaction. She knows how fucking weird this is. Watch her look at the Secret Service guy.
Elon, what the hell are you doing?
Out. Come on, that's great. Even Carolyn Levitt was like, this fucking guy. He's fucking Gary Busey. That's what we got. All right, we got another video. All right, let's see. Maybe this is the same one. It's Gary Busey. We give Gary Busey control.
Timmy should do this. Oh, fuck it up, Timmy. Let's take a...
That's it. I can't anymore. There's a couple more videos, but we get the idea. We got the idea. Take us to Mars, Elon. Just go. Get down. Come back to Texas. Elon, Texas is calling. Come on. Come on. We need you, man. Dude, the Falcon Heavy, we're having problems with it. We can't get it past separation. Elon, get down here. Take us to Mars, baby. Stop it. You're obvious. What was that, too? I guess now I am kind of interested in why he was doing that. understanding completely that there is no reasonable explanation for why he's doing it, but there is probably some motivation on his end as to what he's doing. I think it probably has something to do with the fact that he's on a date with a chick and he's got zero game. He has no idea how to talk to that chick. And by the way, I'm saying it's a date with a chick. I'm saying he's on a date with that girl because have you ever seen like the kind of girls that he dates? He dates those kinds of girls. Fuck. I seriously though, I wish there was more video because I'd love to just watch him on the date. Fucking forget about the spoons, although forks, or I guess that's part of what I'm watching. I want to just watch him on the date, man. It's like that autism show, you know, that show where you watch the autistic kids go on dates and it's like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. That's what we were kind of looking at there. What was that show called? What's that show called? Spectrum of Love or something? I don't know, whatever. It's pretty good. Pretty good show. All right, now we're going to end this whole rant, the spoon rant. We're going to end this whole thing with me just simply saying this. Can you all please just fucking admit it's weird? Can you just, and then we'll move on. And we're moving on. There we go. There we go. Just admit it's fucking weirdo. Can't do that. It's not weird. Yes, it is. That's gaslighting. See, that's gaslighting. That is obviously weird. And when you say that's not weird, you're weird for thinking that that's weird. That's the very definition of gaslighting because we know that that's weird. Okay, let's get that. I don't want to do the wrestling. Oh, here's a fun one. This is a new thing that was put out here by the Journal of American Medical. It's fucking one of these medical journal things. They were measuring stress in states, and they've come up with a definitive sort of rundown of the most stressed states. And by, you know, if you just look at if you go in reverse on the list, you can find the least stressed states, but you know, pretty more interested in the most stressed states. All right, here we go. I'll give you the top 5 most stressed states in America. These are states with, let's see, work-related stress, money-related stress, family-related stress, and health and safety-related stress. So those are the categories that they looked at when they compiled these lists, okay? Again, work-related stress, money-related stress. I think those are kind of the same thing, but okay. Nah, maybe not. Maybe, okay. Work-related stress, money-related stress, family-related stress, health and safety-related stress. You know, like maybe you don't have insurance coverage, but you're having heart pains. That's pretty bad. Maybe you live in a neighborhood that's dangerous and, you know, so you're stressed out about, oh, they're going to break into my car again. Those kinds of things. All right, here we go. The top 5 most stressed states in America. Number 5. I would like to say congratulations to this state because this is the first listing of states where it's bad to be number 1. This is like the first list of state rankings that's bad to be number 1, where this state isn't number 1. Mississippi is number 5. Congratulations, Mississippi. You may lead the nation in every horrible thing. Worst state in America is always Mississippi. You may have that market cornered. God love you. But you're not the most stressed about it. It looks like you've settled into it. Mississippi is totally cool with who they are. Like, we know who we are. It doesn't really bother us anymore. We're fucking Mississippi. I mean, yeah, it's pretty, but nothing, can't build anything. It's all hot. Mississippi is number 5. Number 4 on the most stressed out states. How about West Virginia? West Virginia, okay, so Mississippi is the 5th most stressed. West Virginia. So I guess I'm thinking now, I'm like, yeah, no, Mississippi would be pretty stressed. So forget that little bit of improv I just did there. It didn't make any sense, but you already knew that. West Virginia is number 4. The 3rd most stressed state is Louisiana. The 2nd most stressed state. I'm surprised this one ain't number 1. I really thought that this was going to be number 1, and it's not. The number 2 most stressed state in America is Nevada. I really thought it would be number one because all the gambling and stuff. You know, like everybody's always white knuckling it there. Okay, no, Nevada's number two. The number one most stressed state in America is New Mexico. New Mexico. Let me tell you, I got an idea about why that is. I spent a weekend in New Mexico once, Albuquerque. I was in a hotel, and it was a nice hotel, not a 5-star or anything like that, but it wasn't like, you know, a roadside. It was a downtown convention center type nice, you know, nice hotel. I saw a cockroach in my bedroom, my hotel room, that I could have thrown a saddle on and rode around. I have never seen an infestation of gigantic cockroaches everywhere, quite like I saw in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Everywhere. The way other places have pigeons, they have gigantic 50-pound cockroaches just walking around. And they're all like, yeah, that's New Mexico. So that's all I know about New Mexico. Other than that, no idea why they'd be the number one most stressed. Big fucking cockroaches, Jesus. Like the kind that you smash on the wall. You know, you smash it, there it is, get it. And you boom with your shoe. And then you got to get cleaning fluids to like clean it off because he just was like, you know, he was big and he splattered all over. And you're like, dude, we need paper towels. Bring the whole roll. That shouldn't be the case with a bug. You smash a bug, maybe a tissue, right? No, not in New Mexico. All right, let's look out. Should we go with most stressed or least stressed? Wait, yeah, least stressed. New Mexico is the most stressed. Guess what's the least stressed? Number 50 on our ranking is Nebraska. Nebraska. Of course it is. Fuck Nebraska. That fits, right? Nebraska. That seems nice there. Nebraska seems nice. Like if that's your speed, like if that's what you're comfortable with, if you could do that, I don't think I could. There's not enough going on. I'd become so into the Cornhuskers. I would. If I lived there, that would be, isn't that it? That's like all they have. Anyway, Nebraska, I get it. Nebraska, very chill. Number 49, the second least stressed state in the country. A place that I've spent a lot of time. I love this place. One of my favorite states. It's definitely a top 3 or 4 favorite state of mine. Minnesota. Minnesota. Dude, they call it Minnesota nice. Those people are fucking wonderful. But also, let's not get crazy. There's no difference between people from Minnesota and people from Wisconsin. It's an arbitrary border. They're the exact same person. New Hampshire is 48. South Dakota is 47. Iowa is 46. There you go. That's for you, Jeff. All right, let's look at Texas. Where does Texas come in? Oh, there's Illinois. Okay, Illinois comes in at number 31. So I guess, 50 states. So 25 would be midway. All right, Illinois is on the bad side. All right? Illinois is at 31. Let's see here. No, Illinois is on the good side. Yeah, at 31, Illinois is on the good side. I'm so confused. All right, because 25 is central, is the middle. You know, 1 is the most stressed. 25 is the 25. You get it. What am I doing? All right, Illinois is 31. So that's good. I didn't think that was the case. Where's Texas? Oh, this ain't good. Texas, we're pretty stressed here, apparently. Texas is top 15. Texas comes in at number 14. Oklahoma at 15. And just before Texas is Georgia. Rounding out the top 10, Oregon is the 10th least stressed. Florida is most stressed. I'm done with this bit. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'm too confused. I'm looking at a list. I'm too confused. I suck. I do apologize. That's funny. Adam says, I feel like here, I'll put it up for you. Adam says, I'll read it. Adam says, I feel like anyone in Florida would punch me in the face. No questions asked. Well, I would say, Adam, don't limit that to Florida. I think you underestimate your loathsome branding. You know, I think there are people in just about any state, after spending a little bit of time with you, might want to punch you in the face. I love you. I say it as a brother. I think you understand. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? Yeah. Oh, and by the way, thanks for this, you fucking cunt. Like, Adam, Jesus, still streaming? Jesus. Like I'm a monster or something. Like I'm a monster. He's calling me a monster. Jesus. Invoking the name of the Lord. Please. That's hurtful. There is no reason to be hurtful. You know that I'm very anxious about tonight and how none of you are coming. None of you are going to come to the rant. The rant is finally doing something. Fucking none of you are coming. Right, see, and I'm getting angry. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, you guys. We'll be fine. Just try to make the next one. That's what I always say. You try to make the next one. The next one ain't going to have a full case of this shit for people who just come and sign up at 6 o'clock. Join us at 6 o'clock tonight at the Back Nine. That's in Addison, 4060 Beltline Road. Sign up for our trash trivia contest. I don't know what that is either. You might realize, Pugs hasn't really explained. I don't know what it is. I'm going to play trivia. Or maybe I just have to host it, but I'm going to fuck with some people who are playing trivia. I'm going to know all the answers, and I'm going to be so condescending on the microphone. I'm going to be like, seriously, you don't know this? I'm going to be, trust me, I got plans. And remember, I'm trying to assemble the Harlem Globetrotters of trivia. So if you know anybody who's good at trivia, you tell them to get down to the Back Nine at 9 o'clock. My Harlem Globetrotters of trivia, it's going to be a paid gig. Seriously, it will at some point. Because I'm going to take the Harlem Globetrotters of trivia out, challenge bar rooms, right? That's the plan. All right, so do that. Come on out to the Back Nine, 4060 Beltline Road tonight at 6 o'clock. Here's what you get. You get your little sign up. You get a free box. I'm calling it a month's supply, but really it's just a box of this stuff. Oh, my God. Remember I took it earlier? I don't know. I felt pretty good. Look at how long I went. I felt pretty good. Got to be honest. You know, I was ranting, and I'm like, what? I'll let you behind the curtain. Sometimes when I'm just ranting, I don't like the rant, and I start to think I'm just performing now. There's nothing. I don't have anything even remotely interesting that's going to make me even be interested in what I'm saying. And other times, I start firing, and I'm like, oh, I like that. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, I like that. I said that. I would never say it to you out loud because that's you don't do that. But right now, I'm letting you behind the curtain. Today I had a couple of moments where I was like, oh, I like that one. Oh, that was good. Maybe it was due to me drinking the Rush. It says it promotes, it's brain fuel, promotes thought, get focused, be productive, smooth ride. Rhino Rush, thank you. There you go. Everybody gets a case of that. It comes out to sign up at 6 o'clock today at the Back Nine. All right, what am I looking at? I'm looking at the story. I don't want to go into the story. I don't like this story. I don't like where it's going. It's the Yankee Players kid. I don't know if you're following the Yankee Players dead kid. It's that kind of thing. All right, guys. Think we call it a show? I mean, we have been going. But after all, Adam is like, Jesus! And I know for a fact he didn't mean it like that, but I'm just kind of amplifying what I find to be a comedic value in my own insecurities. It's a process. Like, I know you didn't mean it that way, but all right. Is that it? We're good? Oh, I should remind you. That's right. Cause I haven't been doing this for the last couple of days. And let me tell you, it ain't going well. I had Schwartz in here. I didn't do it once because I was embarrassed to pitch for tips yesterday with Schwartz. I was embarrassed. And I forgot. I mean, I don't have that much shame. I would have definitely done it had I remembered, but I forgot. So if you want to support this kind of talk radio, we do it every day at noon. Lifestyle, conversation. See, we added conversation because now we've got people. Lifestyle, conversation, current events, that kind of thing. Every day, round about noon, right here on Radio Misfits, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studio in the beautiful Design District. We'll see you tomorrow at noon. We'll do another show tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Wednesday. God, did you ever just get lost in the week? Did you ever what day is it? Is that because I'm old or is it because I'm busy? I think it might be because I'm busy. Anyway, I love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.